Chapter 495. Zhao Feng's arrival caused the crowd in front of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower to shake. Zhao Feng, one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies of this sacred true dragon gathering. A few of them recognized him at first glance. At this point in time, the sacred true dragon gathering had ended more than half a year ago, and the name of the overwhelming prodigies had spread across the continent. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Yu Tianhao and Zhao Feng were the most famous and were praised as the 2 overwhelming prodigies that stood at the peak of this era. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned over and saw some familiar figures. Amongst them was Prince Jin and Tian Yunji from the Canopy Great Country, and even the head disciple of the Heavenly Yuan clan, Mo Tianyi. Apart from that, there were also some figures that Zhao Feng found familiar. Beside Prince Jin stood a graceful figure with a black veil over her face. Her aura fluctuated strangely and was unfathomable. When the black-veiled woman saw Zhao Feng, she froze. "Zhao Feng, I didn't think you'd come back from the inheritance. I wonder where junior sister Yufei is." Mo Tianyi blurted out in shock as he stared at Zhao Feng. One of the reasons he was waiting at the 6 Warlock Divine Tower was to find out if Zhao Yufei was alive or dead. After the sacred true dragon gathering ended, Zhao Yufei had entered an unknown inheritance and didn't return. However, the Heavenly Yuan clan didn't give up and tried to find Zhao Yufei. Hearing Mo Tianyi's words, the experts at the True Spirit Realm, especially those at the True Lord rank, all perked up their ears. This sacred true dragon gathering had reached a peak. Not only had the 4 great inheritances descended, but a powerful unknown inheritance had also appeared. However, the 2 that entered the unknown inheritance hadn't returned. But today, one of them had successfully retreated from a powerful and unknown inheritance. How could this not arouse the curiosity of others, and even the desire to spy on them? Mo Tianyi. Zhao Feng only smiled faintly and didn't immediately answer Mo Tianyi's question. There were many people in front of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, and Zhao Feng wouldn't reveal the unknown inheritance so easily. Mo Tianyi was a bit embarrassed. He was too impatient. It was not appropriate to ask about these secrets in this situation. Some of the people present pricked up their ears, preparing to listen to some secrets. Naturally, they were somewhat disappointed. Several True Lord ranks furrowed their eyebrows in dissatisfaction. Zhao Feng stood with his hands behind his back and a calm smile on his face. With his current strength, he was not afraid of anything. "Brother Zhao, I'm very surprised to see you here. I believe the elders of the Heavenly Yuan sect will be surprised as well." Mo Tianyi smiled and greeted Zhao Feng. He did not immediately ask about the unknown inheritance. Very soon, Prince Jin, Tian Yunji, and some other geniuses came to greet Zhao Feng. Some experts and geniuses that Zhao Feng didn't know came over to chat and introduce themselves. For them, it was an honor to talk to this prodigy that shook the continent. It would be a topic of conversation when they returned. Zhao Feng was neither servile nor overbearing as he conversed with some of the experts present. "Everyone is waiting here. What's the situation with the sage in the 6 Warlock Divine Tower?" Zhao Feng asked. It was obvious that there were many people who wanted to meet the sage. Most of them had questions to ask for guidance or needed the sage's divination. Among them, Tian Yunji wanted to pay a personal visit to thank the wise ones and receive some pointers. Mo Tianyi, the head disciple of the Heavenly Yuan clan, was here to run errands for the elders of the clan. One of them was to wait for the sage to reply about Zhao Yufei's whereabouts. The sage has been in seclusion for the past few months. Apparently, he's trying his best to calculate the fate of the continent. As for when the sage will come out, it might be soon, or it might be a while. That's right, we're all waiting for the sage to come out. This is our chance. Everyone was talking at once. Zhao Feng had a rough idea of what was going on after hearing this. At the end of the day, it was like waiting in a queue. "I need to forge the wheel of light and darkness and return to the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion as soon as possible," Zhao Feng pondered. He couldn't wait for too long, but if he left halfway, he might miss the chance of the sage coming out. After the sage came out of seclusion, he might go out and travel. By then, it would be like searching for a needle in a haystack. So. Moments later, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi flew over and stood beside Zhao Feng. Chapter leader, let me try. Maybe the sage knows that one of the top prodigies of the continent is coming and will come out due to his fortune. Jiang Sanfeng smiled and said. He wanted to finish his mission as soon as possible and bring Zhao Feng to the Iron Blood religion. Zhao Feng didn't object and allowed Jiang Sanfeng to try. Priest of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, please inform him. The Thousand River chapter leader of the Iron Blood religion, Zhao Feng, is here to meet you. Jiang Sanfeng raised his head and yelled at the figure on top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Apart from the mysterious sage, there were other experts and priests in the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. One of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Some of the figures on top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower were surprised and some even looked down curiously. After all, the sage wasn't the only one who knew divination in the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. In this peak era, the 5 overwhelming prodigies have suppressed dozens of eras and will control the future of the continent. Some of the priests knew some secrets. Therefore, the appearance of Zhao Feng raised the curiosity of some of the experts in the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Several of the divination experts stared at Zhao Feng with twinkling eyes and began to calculate based on the tiny clues they had. However, most of their divinations didn't yield any results. However, an old man with a white beard closed his eyes and his body trembled as he continued to calculate. Wah! The old man with a white beard had divined to the limit and blood leaked out of his mouth. Grand Master! The expressions of the priests beside him changed drastically and they quickly went to support him. As expected of an overwhelming prodigy. The sage once said that they will lead dozens of eras and are closely connected to the secrets of the heavens. The old man with a white beard wiped the blood off of his mouth and sized up the blue-haired youth below. The temporary chaos on top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower caused the dozens of people waiting below to look at each other. He didn't expect that this Grand Master of divination would suffer a backlash from trying to divine Zhao Feng's future and vomit blood. Zhao Feng stood on the spot and ignored the priests on top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Senior of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, my chapter leader has something important to ask the sage. I hope you can make an exception. Jiang Sanfeng took the chance to say. Hearing this, the people in front of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower were filled with anticipation. Maybe the arrival of an overwhelming prodigy would grant the 6 Warlock Divine Tower special privileges. Only the eyes of the black-veiled girl next to Prince Jean flashed coldly. The white-bearded Grandmaster on top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower coughed. The sage said that he will appear when the time is right. Although I'm very interested in an overwhelming prodigy, I can't help you. Hearing this, the people below couldn't help but feel disappointed. Zhao Feng's gaze suddenly landed on the black-veiled girl next to Prince Jean. Empress, long time no see. He had a smile that wasn't a smile as his gaze seemed to see through the black veil in front of the girl's face. You. The black-veiled girl was slightly surprised and harumphed coldly. She took off her veil, revealing a peerless face. That graceful woman, with every breath, displayed a kind of pure and beautiful feeling to the extreme. Empress Qin. Some of the experts who had been waiting were taken aback. Most people didn't know that even Empress Qin was waiting for the sage to come out of seclusion. Even Empress Qin, the direct disciple of the sage, has to wait. Looks like we won't be able to see the sage so easily. Many people sighed bitterly. With Empress Qin's appearance, the atmosphere became slightly tense. Below the tower, Zhao Feng and Empress Qin looked at each other. This was especially so for Empress Qin. She didn't hide her enmity at all and released her true lord rank aura. Back then, Zhao Feng had kidnapped Empress Qin in front of everyone and shocked the entire great country. When had Empress Qin ever been humiliated like this? Now that they had met, their eyes were extremely clear. Zhao Feng, the Imperials still haven't retracted your bounty. Empress Qin wasn't courteous towards Zhao Feng at all. She knew that her Tao of Charm had no effect on this overwhelming prodigy who had an eye bloodline. Is that so? I don't mind kidnapping the Empress again. Zhao Feng had a relaxed smile on his face, a hint of mockery on his lips. Kidnapping the Empress again? Hearing this, the hearts of everyone present shook. This Zhao Feng wasn't just a normal arrogant person. Daring to the heavens was the best way to describe him. One had to know that this was the territory of the Canopy Great Country and the Imperials were one of the top forces here. You dare to humiliate me in front of everyone. Apart from her anger, Empress Qin's face was also dyed red. Many people's heart rates sped up and their eyes were dazed as they felt a suffocating feeling. Zhao Feng stood there calmly and didn't move. The two faced each other. Although Empress Qin was angry, she didn't attack. Prince Jin, who was behind Empress Qin, was stunned. He couldn't imagine what level Zhao Feng had reached to casually ridicule Empress Qin. Once this matter was spread, it would definitely become a story of Zhao Feng teasing Empress Qin and even worsen the relationship between the Imperials and the Iron Blood religion. If it wasn't handled well, this might even cause a war between the Imperials and the Iron Blood religion. This Empress Qin is pretty good at enduring and didn't attack me. Zhao Feng thought about how to make Empress Qin angrier or just take her down. Right at this moment. Meow. A strange and drawn-out cry of a cat penetrated the void. The hearts of many people moved and they looked toward the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Sang. A silver-black cat yawned lazily and jumped out of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Could this cat be the one from the 6 Warlock Sage? The eyes of some people lit up. There were many legends about the 6 Warlock Sorcerer Sage, but one of the descriptions was the same. The sage always had a cat by his side, and they were always together. Meow, the silver-black lazy cat jumped onto Empress Qin's shoulder. Big lazy cat, you're not sleeping. Empress Qin had a joyful expression as if she was familiar with this silver-black lazy cat. Chapter 496. The appearance of the silver and black lazy cat instantly attracted the gazes of everyone present. From Empress Qin's reaction, this ordinary-looking lazy cat was most likely the one that always stayed by the sage's side. Has the sage come out of seclusion? The eyes of the visitors in front of the tower lit up as anticipation appeared on their faces. It was rumored that the 6 Warlock Sorcerer Sage had a strange cat that was inseparable from him. And now, this weird cat had jumped out of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Did this mean that the sage had come out of seclusion? This cat, Zhao Feng paused for a moment, and his eyes twinkled. He had a cat spiritual pet, but that was only secondary. The most important thing was that this cat's laziness and indescribable intelligence wasn't something normal spiritual pets could compare to. This was something that the little thieving cat and the lazy cat had in common. Furthermore, the timing of the silver and black lazy cat's appearance was extremely strange. Right when Zhao Feng and Empress Qin were arguing and the atmosphere was tense, the lazy cat had appeared out of nowhere. Zhao Feng felt that this timing was too much of a coincidence. One had to know that he was just thinking about how to provoke Empress Qin and force her to attack, or even directly take her down. Big lazy cat, when will master come out of seclusion? Empress Qin was extremely gentle as she stroked the fur of the silver and black lazy cat. She even took out a few precious spiritual pills and fed them to the lazy cat. At this moment, she let out a breath in her heart. When she faced off against Zhao Feng just now, Empress Qin felt a strong sense of danger. The invisible pressure from Zhao Feng's body enveloped her. Luckily, the appearance of the silver and black lazy cat broke the tense atmosphere between Zhao Feng and Empress Qin. Meow. The big lazy cat opened its mouth and ate a few spiritual pills before letting out a satisfied grunt. Ding! 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 The big lazy cat leaned on Empress Qin and threw a few coins into the air, which made a crisp sound. This scene caused Xiao Feng's pupils to contract. The big lazy cat then waved its paws and gestured a few times, as if it was very mature. You're saying that master has finished his divination and is tired, so he'll come see the guest later? Empress Qin revealed a questioning expression. The big lazy cat nodded and waved its paw again. Master summoned me alone. Do you have something to say to me? Hearing this, Empress Qin revealed a joyful expression and followed the big lazy cat into the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Meow. With the big lazy cat leading the way, none of the 6 Warlock Tower's powerhouses tried to stop them. However, the other visitors at the foot of the tower were stopped. Zhao Feng was no exception. Priest, since the sage can see Empress Qin, why don't you let us in? These visitors were naturally unwilling to give up. No. The only one who can be summoned is Princess Consort, unless Lord Lazy Cat allows it. The guards at the bottom of the tower remained unmoved. Lord Lazy Cat. Please let us in as well. Greetings, Lord Lazy Cat. This is a small gift to show my respect. Hee, Lord Lazy Cat, we have a rare breed of beautiful cat here for you to enjoy. These visitors were all very smart. They used all kinds of methods to find a breakthrough point from the big lazy cat. Within the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, the big lazy cat was always together with the sage and they had a close relationship. It could be said that it was the representative of the sage. Whether or not they could see the sage could be decided by one sentence from the big lazy cat. Meow. The big lazy cat glanced at the visitors before walking into the tower in disdain. How can we do this? Some of the visitors became impatient. This included Emotiani, who had an anxious expression. Some of them wanted to see the sage because there was something important that couldn't be delayed. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. Lu Qinxin's life and death was a knot in his heart, and he had to do his best. Meow meow. A familiar sharp voice sounded next to Zhao Feng's ear with a hint of provocation. Meow. The big lazy cat, who was about to enter the tower, suddenly stopped. It turned its head around and looked behind it in shock. On Zhao Feng's shoulder was a silver-gray thieving cat. It was only half the size of the big lazy cat, and its eyes were like black gems. Ding! Ding! The little thieving cat threw a few bronze coins into the air and looked at the big lazy cat leisurely. Little thieving cat, this lazy cat wouldn't be one of your brethren, right? Zhao Feng had a weird expression. After all, the big lazy cat and the little thieving cat had a lot in common. If the little thieving cat could communicate with the big lazy cat, maybe Zhao Feng would be able to enter the 6 Warlock Divine Tower and see the sage. Meow meow. The little thieving cat had a proud look on its face, and it quickly gestured that it was the only one in the world. As it spoke, it looked at the big lazy cat provocatively. Meow. The big lazy cat seemed to be slightly angry, and coldness flashed through its eyes as it gave a warning. It then bared its teeth and gestured with its paws, as if it was the boss. It wasn't hard for the visitors to understand that the big lazy cat was saying, "This is my territory, and I'm the boss." Meow meow. The little thieving cat put away the bronze coins and turned around, twisting its butt at the big lazy cat. The big lazy cat paused for a moment and was confused. It then saw the little thieving cat's legs release a thin yellow urine. Ha ha ha. This thieving cat's got guts to pee in front of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Everyone present was stunned, and some couldn't help but laugh. Empress Qin's face went cold. She remembered this little thieving cat very well. Back at the capital, it was this little thieving cat that had teamed up with Zhao Feng to kidnap Empress Qin. Meow. The big lazy cat was enraged and let out a mysterious roar. An invisible coldness appeared in everyone's hearts. Even the true Lord ranks trembled. It was obvious that the little thieving cat's actions were a huge provocation. As the saying goes, a mountain cannot accommodate two tigers. This was the big lazy cat's territory. How could it tolerate other cats peeing in front of it? Shwa! A faint black light flashed through the air as the big lazy cat's fat figure appeared in front of the little thieving cat in an instant. So fast. Some of the experts at the true spirit realm were surprised. In terms of speed, the big lazy cat made most of the people present feel inferior. In the next instant. Paw! The big lazy cat slammed its paw onto the little thieving cat like a mountain. In terms of size and strength, the big lazy cat was obviously stronger than the little thieving cat. Boom! The little thieving cat's figure shattered. It was just an afterimage. Meow! The big lazy cat was slightly surprised and suddenly felt a cold gust of wind coming from its back. Meow meow! The little thieving cat was like a ghost as it appeared behind the big lazy cat and slammed its paw towards the back of the big lazy cat's head. Paw! The big lazy cat harumphed and turned around with a claw that blocked the little thieving cat's paw and pushed the latter back several yards. Meow meow! The little thieving cat flipped a few times in the air before stabilizing itself and disappearing with a shwa. It was obvious that the little thieving cat had no advantage in terms of strength. The big lazy cat laughed mockingly. Its figure flashed, and it quickly chased after the little thieving cat like a shadow. Of everyone present, only Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see the little thieving cat's tracks. The other true lord ranks had to spread out their spiritual sense to be able to find some traces. This big lazy cat isn't simple. To a certain degree, it can track the little thieving cat's tracks. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. Back in the Purple Saint ruins, Lu Tianyi and Yi Yanyu didn't find the little thieving cat's tracks unless they purposely did so. Seng. So. In front of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, 2 cats, one big and one small, clashed with each other and clawed at each other. The visitors looked at each other with their eyes wide open, but most of them couldn't see the details of the fight. Zhao Feng is indeed worthy of being an overwhelming prodigy. His fortune isn't bad at all. The cat next to him is able to fight on par with the sage's cat. Although these 2 cats look small, their strength and abilities aren't something normal beasts and spirits can compare to. The true lord ranks were experienced but couldn't see the origin of the 2 cats. This Zhao Feng has a cat that can fight on par with teacher's big lazy cat. Hatred and jealousy appeared in Empress Qin's eyes. She knew a little about the big lazy cat's abilities. If she had such a cat, her strength and intelligence would be able to control the fate of the entire Canopy Great Country. However, this cat that wasn't any weaker than the big lazy cat was in the hands of a junior. Bam! Bam! Shwa! The 2 cats crisscrossed in the air, shuttling back and forth. Their speed was getting faster and faster as they fought. The big lazy cat had the advantage in strength and would often send the little thieving cat flying in a head-on clash. On the other hand, the little thieving cat was more agile and would hit the big lazy cat with its paw, making it dizzy. However, the big lazy cat was obviously not a normal cat and was only slightly affected by the dizziness of the little thieving cat's paw. As long as its head wasn't hit by the little thieving cat's paw, it wouldn't be dizzy. Meow meow! The little thieving cat suddenly meowed and waved its paws. Every swipe of its paw created a shadow that pierced through the air. Seeing this, the big lazy cat revealed a shocked expression and instantly felt that it wasn't a match for the little thieving cat. Even though its skin was thick and its body was agile, some of the shadow claws would leave a bloody mark. It's the inheritance of the mysterious dagger. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up. This time, the little thieving cat didn't take out the mysterious dagger and instead used some of its aura. It wasn't hard to imagine. If Zhao Feng could comprehend the essence of the Ice Imperial Spear, the little thieving cat could do the same. Comprehend an inheritance? Was this something a cat that had only been born for a few years could do? Zhao Feng became more and more curious about the little thieving cat's origins. At the start, the little thieving cat had come out of an egg, which was very strange. Cats were mammals and didn't hatch from eggs. Meow meow. The little thieving cat was filled with battle intent and used the inheritance of the divine weapon to send the big lazy cat into the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Grand Master. These 2 cats have fought their way into the tower. The priest said to the white-bearded elder who had coughed up blood. The big lazy cat was the representative of the wise, and now that it was fighting with a cat that might be of the same race, everyone didn't know what to do. We don't specialize in battles of strength. That little thieving cat's origin is like the big lazy cat's, and it's unfathomable. It seems to match the Tao of fate. Maybe they're the dancers on the wheel of fate. Chapter 497. Maybe they're the dancers on the wheel of fate. On top of the 6 Warlock Divine Pagoda, the white-bearded master sighed as he stared at the 2 cats. He didn't interfere, and the others didn't know what to do. The 2 cats were too fast, and their trajectories were unpredictable. Even the protectors of the Celestial Tower couldn't see them clearly, let alone interfere. When the little thieving cat used the mysterious dagger's intent and aura, it had already gained the upper hand and started to chase after the big lazy cat. However, the big lazy cat wasn't easy to deal with. Although its attacks were becoming slower, it was still able to accurately block the little thieving cat's attacks. I didn't expect this lazy cat to have such a high level of comprehension and also specialize in defense. Zhao Feng watched closely. Although the little thieving cat had the upper hand, it wasn't able to gain an overwhelming advantage in a short amount of time. It was hard to determine who would win in the end. The big lazy cat's body and endurance were obviously higher than the little thieving cat's, and the little thieving cat also expended a lot of energy to use the mysterious dagger. Whoosh! Ding! The 2 cats, one big and one small, gradually leaped higher and higher as they continued to fight. The 49 floors of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower became their battlefield. Not good. They're close to where the sage is in seclusion. A priest on the 6 Warlock Divine Tower exclaimed. The other priests and protectors also realized that something was wrong. Quick! Stop that little thieving cat. The 6 Warlock Divine Tower started to panic. Whoosh! 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 The big lazy cat and the little thieving cat moved around the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, and their attacks would occasionally miss, causing some damage to the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Some of the protectors leapt over and tried to stop the little thieving cat. However, the 2 cats were fighting fiercely, and it was hard to tell where they were. A playful smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he stood under the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. The addition of the protectors and priests made the situation even more chaotic. Arg! Roar! Some of the members of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower were accidentally injured, and they started to curse and scream. This scene caused the visitors under the 6 Warlock Divine Tower to become stunned. Some of them looked at Zhao Feng meaningfully. No one had expected Zhao Feng's pet cat to cause such a ruckus in the 6 Warlock Tower. Was all of this instigated by his master, Zhao Feng? Zhao Feng! How dare you cause trouble in the 6 Warlock Tower? Perhaps you don't know the consequences of offending a wise man? Empress Qin's voice was cold, but she revealed a gloating expression. Offend a wise man? Zhao Feng vaguely sensed some problems. The 6 Warlock Divine Tower didn't have a strong force. At most, there were 1 or 2 true lord ranks, and they weren't skilled in battle. How could such a force possess such a transcendent status in a large country, or even the entire continent? Apparently, even sovereigns at the Origin Core realm from the 10 great clans had come to visit the sage. However, no one had dared to use force in the 6 Warlock Tower. Zhao Feng. I can't offend this wise man so easily. Mo Tiany's face was solemn as he communicated with his spiritual sense. Speak. Zhao Feng was still as calm as before. In reality, he wasn't the one who did all of this, the little thieving cat was the one who did it. According to my master, there was a sovereign at the Origin Core realm who used his strength to barge into the 6 Warlock Divine Tower and threatened the wise man. However, in less than 2 years, this famous sovereign died in an inheritance. Mo Tiany's voice paused. A sovereign died? Zhao Feng's heart jumped. Could the death of this sovereign be related to the wise man? The wise man is an expert that has reached the peak of the Tao of life. Not only can he predict the future, he can also change the path of fate. My master said that the sovereign died because of the sage's influence on fate. Mo Tiany's face was filled with respect as he spoke. Hearing this, Zhao Feng's heart went cold. There were tens of thousands of Daos in this world. There was the Tao of martial arts, the Tao of the sword, the Tao of arrays, the Tao of assassination, the Tao of body strengthening. Any one of them had the power to turn the world upside down. This was especially true for a sage who cultivated the Tao of life. Zhao Feng didn't doubt Mo Tiany's words. More accurately speaking, Mo Tiany's master's words. This was because Mo Tiany's master was a sovereign at the Origin Core realm. The Heavenly Yuan clan was one of the 10 great clans of the continent. As a one-star sect, it was necessary to have a sovereign at the Origin Core realm. At this point in time, Zhao Feng finally understood why Empress Qin had a gloating expression on her face. Tao of life? I hope that sage has enough wisdom and knowledge to deduce the origin of my God's spiritual eye. Zhao Feng was expressionless as he murmured in his heart. The strength of the sage made him happy. The little thieving cat's origin was indeed simple and it was mysterious. However, the little thieving cat was willing to follow Zhao Feng due to the aura of the God's spiritual eye. The God's spiritual eye was the biggest mystery in Zhao Feng's heart. Right at this moment. So. The two cats gradually reached the 40th floor of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower and got closer to where the sage was in seclusion. Buzz. A mysterious array formation star pattern appeared on the 49th floor of the 6 Warlock Divine Pagoda, and a formless ripple swept across the sky. Only Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye could barely sense this mysterious ripple. This ripple was different from anything Zhao Feng had ever seen in his life. Lazy cat, why aren't you inviting the guest up? An old voice filled with exhaustion sounded from the top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. The voice came from the 49th floor of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. It was clearly very far away, but it seemed to be very close. Zhao Feng looked over and saw a tall elder appear at the top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. He was an elder wearing a black cloak that was as quiet as the night. His eyes seemed to be turbid, but they were as deep as the stars and contained wisdom. Sage. The sage has come out. Greetings, sage. A commotion broke out within the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, but everyone soon calmed down. Meow, meow meow. The two cats, one big and one small, landed at the top of the Celestial Pagoda on the 49th floor. They finally stopped their sparring and stood facing each other silently. The little thieving cat squinted its eyes and looked at the sage with a rare solemn expression. The sage smiled and waved his hand for the big lazy cat to receive the guest. Seng. Seng. The two cats landed in front of Zhao Feng. Meow meow. The little thieving cat landed on Zhao Feng's shoulder and affectionately rubbed its owner's face. Meow. The big lazy cat wasn't as lazy as usual and extended its paw to invite Zhao Feng up. How is this possible? Empress Qin's beautiful face was filled with shock. That's right. The guest the sage spoke of was Zhao Feng. No one understood the sage's intentions better than the big lazy cat. This junior doesn't feel good disturbing the sage's meditation. Zhao Feng apologetically said before jumping up and following the big lazy cat to the top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. The sage has come out of seclusion. Don't miss it. The other visitors couldn't contain their excitement. The protectors of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower wanted to stop them, but the sage waved his hand and told everyone to come up. Soon after, The group of visitors arrived at the top of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Although there were many people, they were very calm in front of the sage and didn't say anything. I just came out of seclusion not long ago, and I've also divined the inheritances after the sacred true dragon gathering. I believe many of you are here because you care about this. The sage said. The eyes of Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi, and company lit up. They didn't expect the sage to have guessed their intentions. At this point in time, Zhao Feng was slightly nervous. He knew that the sage was about to answer the question. Furthermore, the question wasn't just for him, it was for others as well. In this great era, any true dragon geniuses that come from the inheritances will gain a lot and their achievements will be immeasurable. The sage smiled and glanced at Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi, Tian Yunji, Prince Jin, and the other geniuses. Hearing this, none of them objected. Zhao Feng agreed. His gains from the Purple Saint ruins weren't just a small amount. The Wood Spirit Essence Soul had allowed his soul to reach a level comparable to the Origin Core realm. The chances of him breaking through to the Origin Core realm was very high. Apart from that, the Wind Lightning Stone Tablet inheritance, the Ice Imperial Spear inheritance, the 10,000 Ghost Pearl and even the Little Thieving Cat's inheritance were all things that normal sovereigns couldn't even imagine. Not only did Zhao Feng agree, even Mo Tianyi, Tian Yunji, Prince Jin, and company agreed. Everyone's fortune wasn't bad. In the words of the wise, this was the unique destiny of the great era. It would greatly promote the world and even the future. Then may I ask the sage, what about those that haven't come out? Mo Tianyi couldn't help but ask. The sage just mentioned the true dragon geniuses that had lived to come out of the inheritances. The cycle of heaven and earth is balanced. Those who don't return will most likely meet with misfortune, regardless of whether they survive or perish. The sage's voice became softer and softer, as if it was the sad ending of autumn leaves falling to the ground. Not dead. The words caused the hearts of the crowd to sink. Zhao Feng's heart shook. The sage's analysis wasn't as simple as it seemed. What he meant by disaster was, in the conventional sense, basically hopeless. Moreover, this was only for those who were still alive in the Outer Realm inheritances. There were many dangers, but very few, regardless of whether they lived or died. This meant that even if they didn't die, even if there were a few geniuses that remained in the foreign inheritances, even if they didn't die, they would be in grave danger. Yu Fei. Zhao Feng's heart went cold and waves started to rise in his heart. The sage's calculations didn't just include those that died in the inheritances, it also included Lu Qinxin. Furthermore, the words live or die also included Zhao Yufei. Unless you came out of the inheritances, even if you were still alive, you would be dead. Then Sister Yufei. Doesn't that mean? Mo Tianyi and company's expressions were dim and their moods were low. At this point in time, Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi, and company fell into silence. This was especially so for Zhao Feng, who froze on the spot. I originally thought that Qinxin would be dead and would most likely die in the inheritances. But I didn't think that Yufei would also be in danger. Zhao Feng struggled in his heart. One was his fiancée, and the other was his childhood sweetheart. But now, these two women had actually met with misfortune. Especially Zhao Yufei's situation. Zhao Feng guessed that she would be facing the 3 2-star sections. Chapter 498. The sage's divination made many people feel depressed and their hearts couldn't calm down. The result wasn't hard to understand. Geniuses that came from inheritances all had great fortune and fortune. Their future was immeasurable. On the other hand, those that didn't come out didn't have much of a chance. At this point in time, the expressions of Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company were all weird as they fell into silence. The sage inspected Zhao Feng and then gave some answers and pointers to the other visitors. A long time later, Zhao Feng's emotions calmed down. I at least understand Yufei's situation. Furthermore, the Purple Saint partial spirit gave me a Purple Saint token that can form a connection with the Purple Saint ruins. A rippling purple token suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's palm. This purple token was the Purple Saint token, and it gave off a faint ripple that flashed in Zhao Feng's palm. The Purple Saint partial spirit had explained the use of the Purple Saint token before. This token could form a mysterious connection with the Purple Saint ruins and could even be used as a coordinate to open an inheritance path. If Zhao Yufei had any requests, or if Zhao Feng wanted to go to the Purple Saint ruins, it could all be done through the Purple Saint token. However, there was a limit to this token and it could only be used 3 times. The key is still Qinshin's situation. I don't know if she's alive or dead. Zhao Feng let out a breath. Time passed by slowly. Up until the evening, the visitors left one by one. The sage was exhausted and was about to go rest. However, Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi didn't leave immediately. Sage, I still have something that I need your advice on. Zhao Feng finally spoke. The sage wasn't surprised and smiled. Your goal here should be for Qinshin. That's right. Sage, is Qinshin alive or dead? Zhao Feng asked directly. Previously, the wise man's deduction was only a general concept that targeted all the geniuses that hadn't come from the inheritances of the outer realm. But this time, Zhao Feng's question was more precise. It was directed at only one person. Zhao Feng. That Lu Qinshin has entered a distant inheritance in the outer realms without any clues to rely on. You want Master to calculate whether she's dead or alive. Isn't this just wishful thinking? You're making things difficult for us. Empress Qin's cold and unhappy voice sounded. Zhao Feng was unmoved. He only looked at the wise man with a glimmer of hope. He also understood that the divination of the inheritance of the Tao of life required a certain amount of objective information and clues as a basis. It couldn't be made out of nothing. It was obvious that Empress Qin knew a bit about the Tao of life and knew that Lu Qinshin had entered the inheritance. Without any clues, it would be good if they could confirm her fate, not to mention whether she was dead or alive. Zhao Feng, I can't answer that question. The wise man stood with his hands behind his back. There was not a trace of emotion on his aged face. Can't answer. Zhao Feng was taken aback. The wise man didn't say whether he could divine it or not. Instead, he answered, I can't. Wise man, according to what I know, you're Qinshin's ancestor. Zhao Feng didn't give up. He could feel that the wise man might know something, but he wasn't willing to tell him. The more this was the case, the more worried he was for Lu Qinshin. The wise man didn't deny it. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. Qinshin has great talent in both the Tao of life and the Tao of the Qin. I like her a lot and was waiting for her to complete the inheritance. Unfortunately. Speaking up to there, the wise man sighed. It was as if even he, a cultivator of the Tao of life, felt helpless in front of fate. Can't this Zhao Feng see that Lu Qinshin died in the inheritance? Otherwise, why wouldn't Master answer? Empress Qin's lips curled up as mockery flashed through her eyes. She and Lu Qinshin were on opposite sides. Lu Qinshin's master had divined before her death and told her to change her name to Empress Qin. This was to fight against fate and go against the heavens. Empress Qin knew about this and was obviously displeased. If I don't get a definite answer, this junior's heart will be stuck. Zhao Feng solemnly bowed towards the wise man. Zhao Feng, this old man can't answer and I don't dare to jump to conclusions. Otherwise, I won't be able to bear the consequences. The wise man shook his head bitterly. Hearing this, Empress Qin couldn't help but reveal a surprised expression. The wise man seemed to be worried about something and didn't dare to make a rash decision in case it affected Zhao Feng. Meow meow. The little thieving cat revealed a look of understanding after thinking about it. Meow. The big lazy cat squinted its eyes and threw a few bronze coins into the air. It stared at Zhao Feng for a long time and revealed a look of shock and fear. Why is this happening? The wise man seems to know something about my fate, so he doesn't dare to act rashly. He's afraid of the consequences. Suspicion rose in Zhao Feng's heart. This old man can only give you some pointers. No matter if it's great misfortune or great fortune, there are no absolutes in this world. Even those who are destined to die can be revived. For example, one of the 8 great god eyes, the Eye of Samsara, has the ability to reverse life and death. The wise man said calmly. 8 great god eyes. Eye of Samsara. Hearing these words, Zhao Feng felt his left eye twitch. There's such a heaven-defying eye bloodline that can reverse life and death? Zhao Feng was shocked. Reversing life and death sounded familiar. Some of the world's treasures or mysterious secret techniques also had this effect. However, that kind of death was relative. There was no true death, or it was just prolonging the arrival of death. As for the ability of the Eye of Samsara mentioned by the wise man, even if one were to truly die, their physical body would be annihilated, and their soul would disperse, they would still be able to reverse death and come back to life. Of course, this is just a legend. The 8 great god eyes rule the world and each has the ability to defy the heavens. The Eye of Samsara is only one of them. The wise man smiled. Zhao Feng obviously knew a thing or two about the legends of the 8 great god eyes. Apparently, the 8 great god eyes were the ancestors of all eye bloodlines. All powerful eye bloodlines were more or less related to the 8 great god eyes. The Purple Saint Partial Spirit had even mentioned that there were inheritances of the 8 great god eyes. As for why the inheritances of the 8 great god eyes hadn't come to the Azure Flower continent, Zhao Feng didn't know. Maybe the inheritances of the 8 great god eyes were too strong and the Azure Flower continent might not be able to accept them, or maybe it was because they were too far away and the Azure Flower continent didn't have enough draconic providence. Thank you for your pointers. There are no absolutes in this world. As long as I try my best, I might be able to enter the 8 great god eyes and change everything. Zhao Feng seemed to understand and thanked the wise man once more. When the wise man mentioned the 8 great god eyes, Zhao Feng felt an indescribable sense of excitement and battle intent. 8 great god eyes. 10,000 ancient races. One day, I will meet all of you. Suddenly, Zhao Feng's vision and goal in life changed. All of this came from the wise man's pointers. Now, you know what to do. The wise man's smile contained a hint of joy. This junior understands. The knot in the depths of Zhao Feng's heart started to untie, and the direction of his life became clearer. His eyes flickered. Sooner or later, I will walk out of the continent and experience the vast world outside. I will see those 2-star and 3-star forces. When I have enough strength, I can even directly find the heavenly Saint Zither inheritance. Suddenly, Zhao Feng's heart was clear, and all the distracting thoughts were gone. All that was left was a heart that wanted to reach new heights. At this moment, Zhao Feng closed his eyes and his mental state blossomed like a flower. His soul power seemed to be refined and became more condensed, giving him a sense of stability. In just a few breaths, Zhao Feng's mental state had become more condensed. His mental energy level had reached the peak True Lord rank, and it wasn't far from the half-step origin core realm. As for his soul, although it hadn't become stronger, it had been cleansed and was purer than before. Back in the Purple Saint ruins, Zhao Feng's soul had received the Wood Spirit Essence Soul, and it had become stronger by leaps and bounds. This kind of rapid increase came from the outside, and his foundation wasn't very stable. But now, under the guidance of the wise man, Zhao Feng's mental state had increased, and his soul power had strengthened. Thank you for your guidance. Before I leave, I have one last question. Zhao Feng reached out and touched his left eye. I've already found your eye bloodline. It's related to the 10,000 ancient races, but the exact origin is beyond my calculations. However, I'm sure that it has the chance to reach the level of the 8 great god eyes. The wise man said without hesitation. Hearing this, Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised. It was obvious that the wise man had already sensed the existence of his god's spiritual eye. The wise man's words were the same as the purple saint partial spirits. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was related to the 10,000 ancient races. Comparable to the 8 great god eyes? Mo Tianyi and Empress Qin, on the other hand, were shocked. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline had the chance to reach the level of the 8 great god eyes, although this chance seemed small. Maybe Mo Tianyi and Empress Qin didn't know how strong the 8 great god eyes were, but they were still the strongest eye bloodlines in the world. Even Zhao Feng himself was surprised. He never thought that his god's spiritual eye would have such potential. The 8 great god eyes were the ancestors of all eye bloodlines in the world. For example, the eye of samsara that the wise man mentioned could even revive the dead. Was there anything in the world that couldn't be done? At least for now. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye couldn't reach such a level. After asking the last question, Zhao Feng stood up and left the 6 warlock divine tower. Zhao Feng. Mo Tianyi chased after him with an urgent expression. Mo Tianyi, you're worried about Yufei's safety? Zhao Feng had expected this and smiled faintly. Brother Zhao, there's no one else here. You and Yufei entered the inheritance together. What's her situation now? Is she dead or alive? Mo Tianyi took a deep breath. Instead of asking the wise man, he might as well ask Zhao Feng. Chapter 499. Outside the 6 warlock tower, in the clouds. Mo Tianyi faced Zhao Feng and asked about Zhao Yufei's situation through his spiritual sense. Yufei is currently safe, but because her fortune is too great, she needs a long time to inherit the inheritance. She probably won't be able to come out in a year or 2. Zhao Feng didn't move his lips, but his voice sounded in Mo Tianyi's mind. Zhao Feng only gave a rough outline of Zhao Yufei's situation. As for the more precise details, he couldn't divulge them. After all, the benefits of the Purple Saint Ruin's inheritance were too great. Even the immeasurably enormous 2-star sects were eyeing and scheming for this large cake, much less the forces of the Azure Flower Continent. This is where Yufei's danger lies. She's only at the true spirit realm and it won't be easy for her to swallow such a big cake. Zhao Feng was slightly worried. But right now, Zhao Yufei should be safe and the Purple Saint token hadn't sent any reinforcements yet. Brother Zhao, what exactly is the unknown inheritance that all of you entered? What's its origin? Mo Tianyi couldn't suppress his curiosity. After the sacred True Dragon gathering, the unknown inheritance that Zhao Feng and Lin Feng entered was a mystery to the experts of the continent. When the unknown inheritance descended, it seemed to be stronger than the 4 great inheritances. Of course, the Heaven's Legacy inheritance that descended was only a small part of the countless inheritances. Mo Tianyi, I can't say too much about this inheritance because it won't be good for you or me. If there's any mistake, even the Heavenly Yuan clan behind you won't be able to bear the consequences. Zhao Feng said. Hearing this, Mo Tianyi's heart jumped and he didn't dare to ask anymore. He could faintly feel that the unknown inheritance Zhao Feng and Lin Fan had entered wasn't simple and could even bring disaster to the Heavenly Yuan clan, one of the 10 great clans. Being the head disciple of the Heavenly Yuan clan, Mo Tianyi understood the world of clans better than normal disciples. He knew that the division of the 5-star sects in the world was not a legend. After saying this, Zhao Feng was about to leave. Wait! Brother Zhao, there's something you might not have heard yet. Mo Tianyi suddenly stopped Zhao Feng. What is it? Zhao Feng stopped in his tracks. There's a rule after every sacred True Dragon gathering. The True Dragon geniuses from the inheritances will gather together after entering seclusion to spar and hold a True Dragon tea party. Mo Tianyi smiled with a hint of anticipation and battle intent in his eyes. True Dragon Tea Party. Zhao Feng didn't know that there would be such a gathering after the sacred True Dragon gathering. However, thinking about it, those true dragon geniuses had obtained a lot from the inheritances and their strength would increase greatly after entering seclusion. It wasn't just the normal true dragon geniuses, the 5 overwhelming prodigies were no exception. I wonder how much the true dragon geniuses and overwhelming prodigies have improved. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The hosts of the True Dragon Tea Party this time are the Three-Eyed Saint and Goddess Bing Wei. The location will be in the Middle Continent and the time will be 1 year after the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Mo Tianyi explained the situation. Okay, I'll go if I have time. Zhao Feng agreed, but the prerequisite was that he had time. He was slightly interested in the True Dragon Tea Party, but Zhao Feng himself had many things to deal with. Brother Zhao, I heard that Goddess Bing Wei obtained great fortune from the Mystic Ice inheritance and broke through to the True Lord rank. She even defeated several older True Lord ranks half a year ago. As for the Three-Eyed Saint, he's even more incredible. Mo Tianyi was not his usual talkative self. Who's the Three-Eyed Saint? Zhao Feng suddenly interrupted Mo Tianyi. He couldn't think of someone like the Three-Eyed Saint in this sacred True Dragon gathering. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The Three-Eyed Saint was the champion of the sacred True Dragon gathering 2 times in a row. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't participate due to his age, Yu Tianhao might not have been able to come first. Mo Tianyi explained. No wonder. Zhao Feng understood. The Three-Eyed Saint was an old senior in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering several years ago. Of course, the Three-Eyed Saint was at least 20 years older than Yu Tianhao and company. After all, the Three-Eyed Saint had come first in 2 Sacred True Dragon Gatherings before Yu Tianhao. Furthermore, the Three-Eyed Saint's eye bloodline is ranked first in the continent. One of his ancestors was the Three-Eyed Heavenly Lord, a legendary figure in the history of the continent. His three-eyed bloodline divine ability was unparalleled throughout the ages. Mo Tianyi couldn't hide the wariness and respect on his face. The strongest eye bloodline in the continent? The Three-Eyed Saint has the right to host the tea party. Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly. Mo Tianyi smiled and stared at him. Zhao Feng, I don't believe you're willing to submit to the Three-Eyed Saint, especially since his family has the title of the strongest eye bloodline in the continent. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extremely powerful and had swept through the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. This was known by everyone. In the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline had suppressed the other 2 eye bloodline families. Taba Feng and the Ghost-Eyed Man, the successors of the 2 eye bloodline families, had both lost to Zhao Feng. Of course not. But my goal isn't to be the strongest eye bloodline in the Azure Flower continent. Zhao Feng smiled and didn't hide his thoughts. His eye bloodline hadn't lost to anyone yet. Qi Gui from the Black Cliff Palace's eye bloodline wasn't weak, but he still lost to Zhao Feng in the end. Now that a genius with the strongest eye bloodline would appear in the tea party, Zhao Feng was even more interested. Sure, see you at the tea party. Mo Tianyi said his goodbyes with anticipation. Zhao Feng didn't stay around the 6 Warlock Divine Tower for long. He met up with Jiang Sanfeng and returned to the flooding lake city. Taigon Mountain. Around 10 days had passed since he last came. Taigon Master had almost finished preparing the materials needed to craft the simplified Wheel of Light and Darkness. I've gathered most of the materials. With the experience from last time, I've found some hard-to-find materials to replace. Especially the rare materials you brought from the inheritances. Taigon Master was very satisfied with the materials. The next few days were spent making the final preparations for the Wheel of Light and Darkness. Within a secret hall in the Taigon Palace, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged as a dark mist appeared in front of him, and a human-shaped skeleton appeared. It was made of gold and silver, and 2 red flames danced in its eye sockets. Skeletal Division Leader, it's only been a few months, and your injuries have healed by 30 to 40%. Zhao Feng glanced over. The Skeletal Division Leader's recovery speed was much faster than he had imagined. From its aura, the skeletal division leader's battle power was at least at the late-stage True Lord rank and was comparable to a peak True Lord rank. Zhao Feng knew that this was all because of the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. The air of death within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl was extremely pure and could nourish ghost corpses. Master, the True Lord rank corpses in the Ghost Pearl aren't able to complete your 100 corpse plan. Firstly, the resources and materials available are limited. Secondly, my cultivation and injuries are not at their peak. The skeletal division leader sighed. The 100 corpse plan was Zhao Feng's small ambition. He wanted to use the 100 corpses in the 100 graves forbidden ground to create an army of True Lord rank ghost corpses. One could imagine how terrifying it would be when 100 True Lord rank ghost corpses formed an army. Once the plan succeeded, it wouldn't be hard for Zhao Feng to sweep across a large country. How many have you refined so far? Zhao Feng asked. I've refined one in 2.5 months, and I'm almost done with the other half. The skeletal division leader waved its hand, and a dark red ghost corpse appeared in the mist. Its disgusting aura made Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrow. However, this dark red ghost corpse had the strength of an early-stage True Lord rank, which surprised Zhao Feng. The curse of the 100 graves forbidden ground needs to kill 100 True Lord rank experts and use their negative mental energy to form the curse. In reality, some of these corpses had the strength of a peak True Lord rank when they were alive, which makes it even harder to refine. The skeletal division leader couldn't help but complain. Zhao Feng couldn't help but click his tongue. The early-stage True Lord rank was one of the weakest amongst the corpses. 100 skeletons represented 100 experts at the True Lord rank at the very least. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the person or the force behind them was. I'll try my best to gather the materials. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and locked onto the dark red ghost corpse. He wiped away the skeletal division leader's seal and placed his own on it. The skeletal division leader's heart shook as it watched Zhao Feng wipe away the refining imprint so easily and gain control of the ghost corpse. Although it was weak right now, it couldn't accept that Zhao Feng had taken control of the ghost corpse so easily. Shua! Zhao Feng waved his hand and put the ghost corpse and skeletal division leader into the 10,000 ghost pearl. He then waved his hand again and 2 dark silver ghost corpses appeared. Compared to before, their bones were thicker and their skin was covered in dark silver lines. Not bad, this skeletal division leader has some skill. The 2 dark silver ghost corpses used a large amount of materials and increased their strength by a lot. Zhao Feng waved his hand and put the 2 dark silver ghost corpses away again. At this point in time, the battle power of the 2 dark silver ghost corpses had surpassed the early-stage True Lord rank, and their corpse poison couldn't be measured with normal standards. However, I don't have enough materials right now to complete the 100 corpses plan. I can go back to the Purple Saint ruins when I don't have enough. Zhao Feng soon had a solution. It was extremely difficult to complete the 100 corpses plan with the Azure Flower Continent's resources. However, Zhao Feng could go to the Purple Saint ruins and take some. The Purple Saint ruins was an independent space with a great energy environment. It was large and filled with resources. Some of the best materials in the Azure Flower Continent were only normal in the Purple Saint ruins. If it wasn't for this, the Purple Saint ruins wouldn't have been targeted by the 3 2-star sections 3 days later. Zhao Feng and Taigon Master entered the blacksmith workshop and started to craft the simplified Wheel of Light and Darkness. This represented Zhao Feng's sincerity. Chapter 500. In forging the Wheel of Light and Darkness this time, Zhao Feng was no longer just an assistant. He was the main force behind the forging. This was because there wasn't a blood-hair-colored Tiamat this time, only Zhao Feng and Taigon Master. His cultivation was much higher than Taigon Master's and the flame of wind-lightning true spirit within his body increased the power of the weapon. Comparatively speaking, the forging process this time was much simpler and he was familiar with everything. After all, he had the experience from last time and he was forging a simplified version of the Wheel of Light and Darkness, so the difficulty was much lower. Your eye bloodline control is indeed not the same as before. Taigon Master was very satisfied and had great confidence in the forging this time. Zhao Feng had a powerful flame of true spirit as well as great control. These were the key to forging a weapon. I should be able to forge it in around 10 days, which is a quarter of the time from last time. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye opened and entered a powerful control state as he started to work on some parts. While they were forging, Zhao Feng and Taigon Master were in seclusion and couldn't be interrupted. The Wheel of Light and Darkness came from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance and its structure was extremely exquisite. The difficulty of forging it was tens of times harder than other weapons of the same grade. Within the Taigon Palace. 10 days. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi both heard Zhao Feng's voice. Dai Yi smiled faintly. I've already contacted the members of the religion before entering the flooding lake city. The headquarters should already know that the chapter leader has returned. Jiang Sanfeng nodded his head and wasn't worried anymore. In the Canopy Great Country, the Iron Blood religion was extremely powerful and only the Imperials could fight against them. 10 days wasn't long nor short. However, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi felt that it was extremely long. As long as Zhao Feng finished forging the weapon, he would return to the headquarters. At that time, their mission would be complete. 8 days later. When the sound of metal clanging came from the forging room. Even with the strong defense of the formation, the experts above could still feel the sharp aura of a divine weapon. The forging should be in the final stage. The weapon hasn't even been completed and there's already such a powerful aura. Jiang Sanfeng could feel his divine weapon trembling slightly, as though it was feeling uneasy. The aura of a divine weapon that was about to be born caused many of the divine weapons in Taigon Manor to tremble slightly. In the underground refining room. It's almost done. The last step. Zhao Feng heaved a sigh of relief. His face was glowing with a red light. An iron wheel-shaped ball made of countless precise parts appeared in his palm. Its surface was glowing with a greenish-silver luster, and electric arcs were flickering around it. Whoosh! The iron wheel-shaped ball was quickly enveloped by a ball of dark cyan wind and lightning flame. The wind thunder flame was dark green in color. Occasionally, it would be suffused with a faint purple aura, and its power and quality would increase explosively. I didn't think that your control would reach such a perfect level, and with such a unique true spirit flame of wind and lightning, Taigon Master couldn't help but look forward to it. This simplified version of the Dark Oriole was definitely more powerful and perfect than he had expected. This was because Zhao Feng's control and the quality of the flame of true spirit had far exceeded Taigon Master's expectations. Time ticked by. The iron wheel-shaped sphere in front of Zhao Feng became even more condensed and stable. Many precise parts were embedded, interlocked, and melded with each other. At the most crucial moment, Zhao Feng suddenly sensed something and looked towards a certain direction of the Taigon Mountain. However, at the last moment, Zhao Feng couldn't be distracted or else his efforts would be wasted. In the middle of the Taigon Mountain's back mountain, Chiu, 3 glowing figures floated in the air. Their powerful auras made the nearby insects and beasts silent. These figures were made up of 2 females and 2 males. The 2 females were both peerless beauties. One of them was wearing luxurious clothes and could be said to be a heavenly beauty. The woman in the palace attire had a voluptuous figure, a slender waist, and a peerlessly beautiful face. Her every movement emitted a boundless charm. Her beauty had reached the pinnacle. Empress Qin, with your help, our chances of success will increase greatly. The other elegant female had hatred on her face as she bit her teeth and stared in the direction of the Taigon Mountain. She raised her hand and an azure Qin appeared in front of her. A flying sword revolved around her as they resonated with each other. It was the Qin and sword dual desolation. This elegant female was the Qin Sword Palace Master who had been heavily injured by Zhao Feng. The Qin Sword Palace master herself was extremely beautiful and elegant, but compared to Empress Qin, who specialized in the Tao of Charm, she was slightly weaker. Empress Qin smiled and turned her gaze towards the other two males. Even without me, just the two elders of the Qin Sword Palace and the Lu family are enough to suppress Xiaofeng. With the palace master's Qin and sword dual desolation, that bastard Xiaofeng won't be able to escape. The auras of the other two males were only stronger than Empress Qin and the other two. The first elder of the Qin Sword Palace was a scholarly silver-haired male with a cold expression. He looked to be in his 30s or 40s, but his actual age was impossible to estimate. However, this silver-haired male's aura was close to the peak True Lord rank and suppressed the other three. The other elder in ancient robes was also a True Lord rank, and his aura was even stronger than the two females. He was the first elder of the Lu family. All four of them were at the True Lord rank. Don't underestimate that Xiaofeng. With just the three of us, we only have a 70 to 80% chance of winning. We're still lacking one person to kill him. We originally wanted the Flooding Lake City Lord to help, but he used seclusion as an excuse and didn't participate. He even met the Empress on the way. The Qin Sword Palace master's expression was calm and didn't let hatred cloud her rationality. The humiliation that Xiaofeng's kick had brought the Qin Sword Palace master a long time ago. After the Qin Sword Palace master returned to the Flooding Lake City, the first elder of the Qin Sword Palace came out of seclusion and sparred with the first elder of the Lu family. The Qin Sword Palace and the Lu family. The first elders of the two major forces instantly gave the Qin Sword Palace master hope of revenge, and she immediately poured out her anger and grievances. Thus, the scene in front of her appeared. Four True Lord ranks had appeared at Taigan Mountain. The only difference was that the Flooding Lake City Lord didn't participate and was replaced by Empress Qin. Before Master left, he told me to go with the flow and forget my enmity with Xiaofeng. Empress Qin remembered what her master, the sage, had said. Empress Qin wasn't a mantis trying to stop a chariot, but she had been humiliated by Xiaofeng and the anger in her heart couldn't be appeased. Coincidentally, she met the people from the Qin Sword Palace on the way. This was a good chance to kill Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng must die. Once he meets up with the Iron Blood religion, the Imperials will be greatly suppressed and probably won't be able to rise again. The hesitation in Empress Qin's eyes was soon replaced by killing intent. Regardless of whether it was for business or personal reasons, she would not let go of a golden opportunity to kill Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng was one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies and his potential was shocking. If he was already so strong, Empress Qin couldn't imagine what would happen to her and the Imperials when he grew up. My spiritual sense has already found that Xiaofeng. He's really in the mood to hide here and forge. The first elder of the Qin Sword Palace had a mocking tone. Of the 4 True Lord ranks, the first elder of the Qin Sword Palace had the highest cultivation and his spiritual sense found Xiaofeng first. After that, the other 3 True Lord ranks all confirmed Xiaofeng's location. Don't let him run. This brat's eye bloodline isn't simple and should be able to sense us. The 4 True Lord ranks were like 4 streaks of light that flew towards the Taigan Palace. So. The 4 True Lord ranks surrounded the Taigan Palace and the intent of their True Lord ranks resonated with the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi and created a powerful force. The Taigan Palace instantly broke into chaos. Xiaofeng. I don't want to kill the innocent. Come out and accept your death. The Qin Sword Palace master's eyes were cold as she waved her hand and the Qin floated in front of her as a flying sword flew through the air. Boom! One of the pavilions above the underground artifact forging room was instantly torn apart. However, that sword did not slash into the underground artifact forging room. Such an important place for artifact forging was naturally protected by layers upon layers of powerful formations. Even then, Xiaofeng and Taigan Master, who were at the last step of forging, felt the forging room shake. Just one more step and I'll be able to successfully refine it. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He couldn't be distracted at the last step or else he might fail. The 4 true lord ranks just had to appear at this crucial moment. Zhao Feng wasn't scared of the 4 true lord ranks, but he wasn't willing to fail at the last step. Qin Sword Palace. Main branch of the Lu family. Don't even think about succeeding. The Iron Blood religion isn't scared of anyone. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi stood shoulder to shoulder and didn't retreat. They knew that Zhao Feng was at the last step of forging and it would be enough if they could delay him for a while. Members of the Iron Blood religion? Do you think I don't dare to kill you? The Qin Sword Palace master snickered coldly. Although she was wary of the Iron Blood religion's strength, the Qin Sword Palace was only weaker than the Imperials and the Iron Blood religion. Furthermore, the Qin Sword Palace was on the same side as the Imperials. He. What big words. Who wants to take action against the Iron Blood religion? A clear and cold male voice came from the other side of Taigan Mountain. In the air. A palanquin made of metal with a picture of a blood dragon and a sword crossed appeared. It was carried by 4 true human rank bearers and floated over. Golden Spear Blood Dragon Carriage. The expressions of the 4 true lord ranks changed. There weren't many people in the Canopy Great Country that didn't know about the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Carriage. Once the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Carriage appeared, it meant that the Deputy Patriarch Tiamat had appeared. Greetings, Deputy Patriarch. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi immediately bowed. The two weren't surprised by the appearance of the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Carriage. Half a month ago, Tiamat had received news of Zhao Feng's return and rushed over. Furthermore, Tiamat had secretly arrived at the Taigan Mountain 2 days ago. However, in order to not disturb Zhao Feng's seclusion, the Deputy Patriarch was very low-key and didn't appear. Until now. Tiamat was only forced to appear after Empress Qin and the 4 true lord ranks arrived. Come in. Tiamat waved his hand and let Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi enter the Golden Spear Blood Dragon carriage. Then, the Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan gave off a blood-colored glow and landed above the artifact forging room. Tiamat, you want to block 4 true lord ranks by yourself? The first elder of the Qin Sword Palace snickered coldly. In terms of cultivation, Tiamat wasn't much stronger than him. Furthermore, they had 4 true lord ranks and the Qin Sword Palace master. Then let's try. Tiamat harumphed coldly as he stood on the Blood Dragon sedan and faced 4 true lord ranks by himself. Chapter 501. On the Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan, Tiamat stared coldly at the 4 true lord ranks in the air. Empress Qin, the Qin Sword Palace master, and the other true lord ranks were wary of this deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. Tiamat, this elder might not be your match in a one-on-one fight. However, if you want to fight the 4 of us by yourself, don't blame us for bullying you with numbers. The eyes of the silver-haired first elder of the Qin Sword Palace squinted as a sharp light flashed. Of the 4 true lord ranks, he was the strongest and was obviously the main force against Tiamat. However, the first person to attack was the Qin Sword Palace master. Qin Sword Dual Desolation. The Qin Sword Palace master played the Qin with one hand and controlled her sword with the other. Chio. The flying sword in her hand shot through the air and released a 3-colored light as it slashed out a rain of swords. At the same time, the sound of the zither rang out. The musical notes were like golden spears and armored horses, transforming into invisible spiritual sound waves that penetrated every nook and cranny of one's body, disturbing one's heart and soul. Sword sets heaven and earth. The Qin Sword Palace first elder's silver hair blew in the wind as he leapt into the air and slashed toward Tiamat. At that moment, the silver-haired elder's sword momentum was overwhelming. Countless sword lights could only be seen with the naked eye, surrounding a domineering and disdainful silver sword rainbow. It slashed down from above, as if it was a sovereign descending upon the world, overlooking the 9 provinces. What was even more amazing was that his sword attack complemented the Qin Sword Palace Master's Qin Sword Dual Desolation. The two's attacks were one bright and one dark, one main and one secondary, combining yin and yang. The combined power of the two surpassed the limits of normal True Lord ranks. Perfect teamwork. Empress Qin and the First Elder of the Lu family couldn't help but exclaim. They didn't think that the Qin Sword Palace Master and the Qin Sword First Elder's teamwork would be so fast that they didn't even have time to react. Facing such an attack, Tiamat's expression was cold. When on his right arm that was wrapped in metal, a dark silver wheel with a diameter of 5 feet suddenly appeared. The center of the silver wheel was dark and deep, and the edges of the silver wheel flickered like a thin silver blade, revolving ceaselessly. Break! The dark silver wheel in the blood-haired Tiamat's hand rotated at a high speed. Suddenly, it transformed into a dazzling light wheel shadow. The shadow soared into the sky, and met the silver-haired Great Elder head-on. The two of them, one at the top and the other at the bottom, did not give way to each other and clashed head-on. Puchi! The dazzling light wheel shadow was like an indestructible blade of time as it forcefully split apart the silver-haired elder's silver sword rainbow. The surrounding rain of sword lights was instantly shattered. The high-speed spinning dark silver wheel hit the sword of the First Elder of the Guqin sword sect and created a burst of sparks. "My mysterious silver divine sword," the silver-haired Great Elder shouted. As the dark silver wheel spun at high speed, the surrounding sharp silver edges quickly cut his divine weapon. In just a breath's time, a small nick appeared on the silver-haired elder's sword, which was close to a superior-grade divine weapon. Clang! The two of them clashed fiercely, and the silver-haired elder's body was sent flying. His blood and chi churned, and he almost spat out blood. Dark Aureole! The other True Lord ranks as well as Jiang Sanfeng and company exclaimed in shock. Ding! The Dark Aureole spun in front of him like a shield and pushed away the Qin Sword Palace Master's flying sword. Furthermore, while the Dark Aureole was defending, it also spun at high speed and almost damaged the Qin Sword Palace Master's flying sword. The Qin Sword Palace Master groaned and almost let her flying sword fall to the ground. Shwa! After finishing all this, Tiamat landed on the ground and the Dark Aureole turned into a mechanical arm. In just a few breaths, the three True Lord ranks exchanged blows. The Qin Sword Palace Master and the Qin Sword First Elder's perfect attacks were easily pushed back by Tiamat and even injured. This Tiamat is so strong. No wonder he's the leader of the Iron Blood religion. This was especially true for the silver-haired First Elder. After clashing head-on with the Dark Aureole, there was still a bloody wound on his chest, and he was panting heavily. Underground Forging Room. Zhao Feng and Taigon Master were finishing the last step of forging. It'll be done in an hour. The majority of Zhao Feng's focus was on forging. At the same time, he was also paying attention to the battle above. The Deputy Patriarch's battle power moved Zhao Feng, especially when he held the Dark Aureole. One had to know that the silver-haired First Elder's cultivation was close to the peak True Lord rank and he teamed up with the Qin Sword Palace Master. Their attacks were enough to threaten peak True Lord ranks. However, such a powerful attack was easily blocked by Tiamat and even suppressed two True Lord ranks. Let's go together. Tiamat's strength is ranked in the top 3 in the Great Country. Only First Elder Longmu can beat him in a one-on-one fight. Empress Qin's perfect figure danced in the air. Swoosh, 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 in an instant, colorful ribbons danced around her body, forming colorful ribbons that were dozens of meters long. They wrapped around Tiamat's lower body. At the same time, the Qin Sword First Elder, the Qin Sword Palace Master, and the Lu family's First Elder attacked Tiamat from different directions. Tiamat stood fearlessly on the Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan and the Wheel of Light and Darkness in his right arm turned into several different forms as he faced the 4 True Lord ranks. Boom! Inside the forging room, Zhao Feng and Tiamat felt a violent tremor. Luckily, Tiamat and the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Sedan took over 90% of the attack, or else even the layers of arrays in the forging room wouldn't be able to block the attacks of several true lord ranks. Zhao Feng, the deputy patriarch, is blocking the 4 true lord ranks for us by himself. I'm afraid he won't be able to last long. Taigon Master was slightly worried. He was the support in this forging, so he had more energy to pay attention to the battle above. The deputy patriarch started to be on the defensive and his attacks became less and less as he continued to block the attacks of the 4 true lord ranks. Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye to glance over and smiled faintly, "Don't worry." On the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Sedan, the deputy patriarch seemed to be on the defensive, but he blocked the attacks of the 4 true lord ranks by himself with no signs of panic. I understand. The deputy patriarch is defending the forging room below, so he can only defend. Jiang Sanfeng in the Blood Dragon Sedan saw some clues. Doesn't that mean that the deputy patriarch's peak battle power won't be at a disadvantage even against 4 true lord ranks? Dai Yi couldn't help but be surprised. The current patriarch of the Iron Blood religion was said to be sick and the deputy patriarch was in charge. Tiamat was able to lead the Iron Blood religion to fight against the Imperials as well as the Qin Sword Palace and the Lu family. How could his strength be measured normally? In the air, the attacks of the 4 true lord ranks became fiercer and fiercer. The Qin Sword Palace Master, Empress Qin, and company even used several powerful secret techniques, but they were all blocked by the Deputy Patriarch. Looks like I've underestimated the Deputy Patriarch's battle power. Without using his eye bloodline and some hidden cards, it'll be hard for me to defeat Tiamat. Although Zhao Feng had only glanced over once or twice, he knew the situation better than anyone else. If it wasn't for the fact that Tiamat had to defend the forging room, he could have defeated 4 true lord ranks by himself. Looks like our chances of killing Zhao Feng today are minuscule. Empress Qin couldn't help but feel bitter. She spun and attacked continuously, but the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion easily dealt with them. The other 3 true lord ranks looked at each other with solemn expressions. The deputy patriarch's battle power was strong and his wheel of light and darkness was also troublesome to deal with. It could easily damage the weapons of the 4 true lord ranks. Although we can't kill Zhao Feng, we can stop him from forging. Looks like he's forging the second wheel of light and darkness. How can we let him succeed? The Qin Sword Palace Master gritted her teeth and said unwillingly. The true lord ranks released their spiritual sense and could see the situation in the forging room. The weapon in Zhao Feng's hand seemed to be the second wheel of light and darkness. We can't let him succeed. No wonder the deputy patriarch is guarding that area. The silver-haired first elder snickered coldly and purposely shifted his attacks towards the forging room. Despicable. Tiamat's expression changed as he circulated the wheel of light and darkness and sent out several rays of light to destroy the silver-haired First Elder's attacks. However, the other 3 true lord ranks purposely let their attacks affect the forging room below. Rumble. The underground forging room shook violently, and it looked like it was about to collapse. These true lord ranks are too shameless. Taigon Master cursed. However, they didn't want to see a second wheel of light and darkness appear. Zhao Feng. If we don't think of a way, our effort will be wasted. Taigon Master sighed. The underground artifact forging room wouldn't last more than a few breaths of time before it collapsed. On the Golden Spear Blood Dragon Sedan, Tiamat had a helpless expression. Although he wasn't scared of the 4 true lord ranks, he couldn't stop the shockwaves from the battle from affecting the forging room. Furthermore, the 4 true lord ranks were doing this on purpose. Humph. You asked for it. Don't blame me for being merciless. A cold snort filled with murderous intent resounded in the air, and a chill that could penetrate one's soul could be felt. The hearts of the 4 true lord ranks who were attacking Tiamat went cold. That's the chapter leader's voice. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi were surprised and looked towards the direction of the voice. Shua shua. A blue-haired youth surrounded by lightning and wind had appeared above the 4 true lord ranks. Zhao Feng. Everyone's expressions changed dramatically. The deputy patriarch couldn't help but sigh regretfully. Zhao Feng's forging had been interrupted at the last step. Empress Qin and the Qin Sword Palace Master were filled with fear, and the other two true lord ranks were also wary. No one could clearly see what sort of speed Zhao Feng used to appear above their heads. Only the true lord ranks felt the disturbance of wind and lightning. Zhao Feng's figure seemed to become part of the wind and lightning. Retreat. With Zhao Feng and Tiamat teaming up, we don't have any chance of winning even if we have more people. The Qin Sword Palace Master's voice was urgent as she messaged. Retreat. The four true lord ranks didn't hesitate. They couldn't do anything to just Tiamat alone. If Zhao Feng joined the fray, the four of them could only run for their lives. Zhe, even if we can't kill Zhao Feng, it's still worth it if he can't refine the wheel of light and darkness. The first elder of the Lu family snickered coldly. The four true lord ranks instinctively released their spiritual senses to check the forging room below. However, when their spiritual senses got close, they were burned by a dark aura and their hearts jumped. The artifact forging room was enveloped by a layer of eerie black flames. Not only did the spiritual senses of the four true lord ranks not find anything, they were almost injured by the backlash. Their hearts were filled with shock. What kind of terrifying existence was in the forging room? Chapter 502. The terrifying aura from the forging room made the expressions of the four true lord ranks change dramatically. Their spiritual senses were almost injured by the backlash. The situation instantly flipped. Zhao Feng wasn't forging in the forging room but instead appeared above the four true lord ranks. What was even more strange was that the underground refining room was shrouded in a layer of eerie, ghostly qi, and the outcome was still unknown. One needs to be at least at the half-step origin core realm to have this ability. Empress Qin's expression changed dramatically. She didn't dare to imagine the terrifying existence in the forging room. She vaguely realized why her master had warned her before they parted that it was best to resolve her grudge with Zhao Feng and not make an enemy out of him. Retreat. This Zhao Feng isn't as simple as he seems. Who knows what expert is behind him? The other three true lord ranks immediately ran out of the Taigon Palace. You want to run? Hee, too late. A powerful wind pressure came from the void, accompanied by a strong electric shock and numbness. The four true lord ranks that were about to run felt their hearts go numb and their flying speed decrease by 20 to 30%. Only the Qin Sword First Elder, whose cultivation was at the peak true lord rank, could reduce the effect. In that instant, the wind lightning Yuan Qi enveloped the four true lord ranks and Zhao Feng was the eye of the storm. What a powerful mental energy intent. The deputy patriarch's eyes lit up and he was overjoyed. However, he didn't slow down and immediately chased after Zhao Feng. When Zhao Feng appeared, the anger in the deputy patriarch's heart was finally released. With his strength, he didn't need to fear the four true lord ranks at all. He was obviously unhappy that he could only defend. Light and darkness flying will slash. The dark aureole in the hands of the deputy hierarch of Iron Blood religion rotated to the extreme, turning into a dazzling blade of light. It had a diameter of over 100 feet, and its edges were as sharp as a cicada's wings. Puchi, the giant light wheel blade formed by the dark wheel of light shone resplendently as it tore through the air, emitting a sharp whistling sound. Its speed was as fast as lightning as it flashed by. Arg! The great elder of the Lu family, who had just flown 1,000 feet away, let out a blood-curdling scream as he was split into two by the dark aureole. Clearly, he did not expect the dark aureole to have such a powerful long-range killing move. Previously, blood-haired Tiamat could only passively defend and had many apprehensions. He couldn't go all out in battle, which greatly limited his combat power. Now that he had made his move, it was obvious how strong he was and how powerful the dark aureole was. Meanwhile, wind and thunderclap cut. The blue-haired silhouette waved his hand in the air, and a dark green blade of wind and thunder appeared with the naked eye. It was about 70 to 80 feet long, and it was extremely condensed. The edge of the blade was surrounded by vibrating electric arcs. Crack! Crack! The huge blade of wind and thunder slashed across the sky, creating dazzling sparks. Thunderous explosions resounded, deafening to the ears. Zhao Feng's speed was definitely the fastest amongst the true lord ranks present and reached the back of the Qin Sword Palace Master's head in an instant. No, the Qin Sword Palace Master exclaimed as her face went pale and her body trembled. When amidst the trembling of the giant wind and thunder blade, the electric arc wave blade locked onto a radius of dozens of feet, filled with a destructive and violent aura, a domineering and unparalleled power, instantly shredding her defensive layer. Just like last time, normal true lord ranks had no way of fighting back against Zhao Feng's terrifying speed. The Qin Sword Palace Master's face was filled with fear, and her eyes were filled with helplessness and begging. A trace of bitterness and regret arose from the bottom of her heart. However, it was too late. You asked for it. As the cold voice sounded, the blade of wind and lightning exploded and instantly tore apart the Qin Sword Palace Master's elegant figure. Her screams stopped abruptly. In just a short 2 breaths, the first elder of the Lu family and the Qin Sword Palace Master had both died. 2 true lord ranks have died at the same time. Jiang Sanfeng and the spectators within Tiagon's palace were flabbergasted, but their blood started to boil with excitement. So, Zhao Feng and Tiamat had attacked at the same time and killed a true lord rank at the same time. 2 true lord ranks had died at the same time. After finishing all of this, Zhao Feng and Tiamat looked at each other with smiles on their faces. Tiamat was overjoyed. Not only had Zhao Feng returned from the inheritance unscathed, his strength had also reached such a level. From what Zhao Feng had just displayed, his strength wasn't any weaker than Tiamat's. Furthermore, this might not be Zhao Feng's full strength. So fast. The Qin Sword Palace Master and the first elder of the Lu family are both dead. Run! This Zhao Feng's strength has reached such a terrifying level after returning from the inheritance. Empress Qin and the first elder of the Qin Sword Palace started to burn their qi of true spirit at the same time and used a secret technique to escape. So. The 2 figures quickly broke through the sky and disappeared into the clouds. Zhao Feng stood in the air and faintly glanced at the 2 escaping figures. His left eye locked onto the Qin Sword Palace First Elder. Kill the Qin Sword Palace First Elder first. Tiamat's voice sounded. His thoughts were the same as Zhao Feng's. Of course, their intentions weren't the same. The reason why Tiamat chose to kill the Qin Sword Palace First Elder first was because of the bigger picture. The Qin Sword Palace was one of the 8 super forces and had 2 true lord ranks. The Qin Sword Palace First Elder's cultivation was close to the peak true lord rank. If he broke through, his strength would catch up to the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion and become a bigger threat. The Qin Sword Palace Master is already dead. If we kill the Qin Sword Palace First Elder, the Qin Sword Palace won't have any true lord ranks. It'll be like an army without a commander. Tiamat's heart thumped. In other words, killing the Qin Sword Palace, one of the 8 superpowers of the great country, would be enough to destroy the Qin Sword Palace. If it was a normal time and the Qin Sword Palace First Elder wanted to run, it would be hard for Tiamat to kill him. However, at this moment, with Zhao Feng's speed and strength that wasn't any weaker than Tiamat's, there was a chance to kill the Qin Sword Palace First Elder. Eye of Ice Soul. Zhao Feng's left eye suddenly turned into a bone-piercing blue light that locked onto the Qin Sword Palace First Elder. See, the Qin Sword Palace First Elder's body froze and his thoughts seemed to freeze. His speed dropped by more than half. What's going on? The Qin Sword Palace First Elder exclaimed. His reaction speed were greatly reduced. He soon realized that he had been locked onto by Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique. However, even though he knew the opponent's method, he couldn't block it. Ha ha ha. Zhao Feng. Good job. Tiamat laughed as he held the wheel of light and darkness and slowly closed in on the Qin Sword Palace First Elder. Zhao Feng locked onto the Qin Sword Palace First Elder with his Eye of Ice Soul and chased after him. Light and darkness flying will slash. The wheel of light and darkness in Tiamat's hand shot out and a blinding light blade instantly slashed onto the Qin Sword Palace First Elder's body. The Qin Sword Palace First Elder was locked onto by the Eye of Ice Soul and couldn't dodge at all. He could only forcefully burn his Qi of True Spirit and block with his sword. Wah! The light blade sent him flying and left a deep gash on his body. Blood dyed his body red. Shwa! Shwa! A blue-haired figure appeared behind the Qin Sword Palace First Elder with unparalleled speed. Shwa! Zhao Feng held an azure blade of wind and lightning as he expressionlessly slashed towards the Qin Sword Palace First Elder's back. Kacha! The Qin Sword Palace First Elder tried his best to dodge, but one of his arms was cut off by the blade of wind and lightning. Under the combined attacks of Zhao Feng and the Iron Blood Religion Patriarch, the Qin Sword Palace First Elder couldn't fight back no matter how he struggled. In just 2 moves, the Qin Sword Palace First Elder was killed by Zhao Feng and Tiamat. Great! So smooth. The joy on Tiamat's face was indescribable. After all, the Qin Sword Palace First Elder's cultivation was close to the peak True Lord rank. If he didn't care about the price and tried to escape, it would be hard to kill him. He realized that he had underestimated Zhao Feng's strength and eye bloodline. In reality, when Zhao Feng opened his eye bloodline, the Qin Sword Palace First Elder was destined to die. Even if Tiamat didn't attack. Zhao Feng was expressionless after killing the Qin Sword First Elder. His eye bloodline returned to normal, and he seemed to be unconcerned. Tiamat couldn't help but look deeply at Zhao Feng. In this meeting with Zhao Feng, he couldn't see through this new overwhelming prodigy of the continent. Chio! Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something, and his face paled. His body blurred as he vanished. A few breaths later, a flash of lightning appeared in the forging room. The forging room was covered in black flames that even True Lord ranks couldn't see through. Taigon Master's heart shook and he found it hard to breathe. He could only faintly see 2 balls of fire flickering in the skeleton's eye sockets. The dark aureole, which was in the final step of its refinement, was floating in front of the skeleton. Master, don't worry. I have several hundred years of experience in the Tao of blacksmithing and I'm not weaker than normal blacksmiths. The skeletal division leader maintained the wheel of light and darkness. Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly. Maybe the skeletal division leader didn't understand the blueprint and couldn't complete the last step, but it wouldn't be hard for it to maintain the current state. One had to know that the skeletal division leader was an origin core realm sovereign at its peak, and its experience far surpassed Zhao Feng and Taigon Master. Maintain it for a while longer. After saying this, Zhao Feng's figure disappeared from the forging room. A while later. Chio! A ball of lightning caught up to the Deputy Patriarch and Empress Qin. Ha ha ha! Empress Qin! You've been my enemy for many years, but you probably didn't think that you'd end up like this. The Deputy Patriarch laughed and waved the wheel of light and darkness, forcing Empress Qin into desperation. There were 4 or 5 bloody marks on Empress Qin's beautiful dress, revealing her snow-white skin and giving off a fatal allure. Lord Tiamat, please spare my life. Empress Qin had a pleading expression on her face. Her shoulders and chest were half exposed, making her look extremely charming. Even the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood Religion had to focus his mind in case he fell for Empress Qin's charm. Die! The Deputy Patriarch was worried that something bad would happen, so he slashed the wheel of light and darkness toward Empress Qin. At this point in time, Empress Qin was already heavily injured and couldn't block this attack. Wait! A calm and indifferent voice sounded in the air. In the next instant, a ball of lightning appeared in front of the Deputy Patriarch and Empress Qin. When the Deputy Patriarch's wheel of light and darkness was stopped by a ripple of blue water. It was as if it had entered an ocean and couldn't move an inch forward. Zhao Feng, what are you? Chapter 503. Zhao Feng, you. Tiamat looked in disbelief at the blue-haired figure next to him. Some of the spectators in the distance exclaimed in surprise. At the last moment when the Iron Blood Religion Deputy Patriarch was about to kill Empress Qin, Zhao Feng suddenly interfered and blocked the wheel of light and darkness. Zhao Feng's body was surrounded by a layer of blue water. It was as if he was an ocean with ripples on the surface. The wheel of light and darkness slashed into the water and its power was absorbed like a stone sinking into the ocean. Why did Zhao Feng stop it? Although Tiamat was puzzled, he was more surprised by Zhao Feng's strength. Even someone as strong as the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood Religion couldn't break through the defense formed by Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Tiamat was confident that those at the peak True Lord rank wouldn't be able to take his wheel of light and darkness head-on. However, this youth in front of him did it so easily. Deputy Patriarch, I owe the sage a favor, so I'll let her go this time. Zhao Feng explained. Logically speaking, Zhao Feng and Empress Qin were enemies and had an irreconcilable conflict. Back in the Canopy Great Country, the two plotted against each other and Zhao Feng even kidnapped Empress Qin in front of everyone. However, there were some reasons that made Zhao Feng decide not to kill Empress Qin. For example, the Sage of the Six Warlock or the Grand Elder. Fine, I'll let her go this time because of you. The Deputy Patriarch sighed and shook his head as he put away the wheel of light and darkness. Let her go again. Again? Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. Could it be that the Deputy Patriarch had the chance to kill Empress Qin but didn't do so due to some reason? Empress Qin let out a long breath. Her clothes were drenched in cold sweat. Zhao Feng, I didn't think that you would save my life. Her expression was complicated. Empress Qin originally wanted to work with the Qin Sword Palace Master and company to kill Zhao Feng, but she was saved by Zhao Feng instead. Fuck off. This is your last chance. Zhao Feng looked at Empress Qin with slight disgust. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't have any good feelings towards Empress Qin and even wanted to kill her. Empress Qin didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately flew away. Empress Qin has been causing trouble ever since she entered the Imperials. I had several chances to kill her before she even matured. However, I didn't kill her because of the Sage of the Six Warlock. Tiamat's expression was calm as he watched Empress Qin leave. Zhao Feng suddenly understood. He remembered that Jiang Sanfeng had said that Tiamat had consulted the Six Sorcerer Sage to confirm whether he was dead or alive. It's mainly because of the Sect Master. My brother Hong has a good relationship with the Six Warlock Sage. Tiamat sighed. Sect Master. The Orthodox sect leader. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect the relationship to be so complicated. He quickly recalled the Ball of Ice Soul and the Dark Eye incomplete volume that the mysterious red-haired old man had given him. After letting Empress Qin go, Zhao Feng quickly returned to the forging room and took over the skeletal division leader's work. During this period of time, the black flame covered the forging room and no one else was able to see what was going on. Even someone as strong as Tiamat's spiritual sense was barely able to enter and almost suffered a backlash. There seems to be a powerful expert behind Zhao Feng. He seems to be a Tao of ghost corpses. Tiamat was secretly surprised. In terms of cultivation, he wasn't far from the half-step origin core realm, but he couldn't estimate the mysterious existence in the forging room. He realized that he was finding it harder and harder to see through Zhao Feng. Schwa. Only Zhao Feng and Taigon Master were left after the black flame in the forging room disappeared. Zhao Feng continued with the last step of forging. Taigon Master had some lingering fear in his heart but he didn't ask anything and just helped from the side. It didn't take long before the final step was completed. When a silver-green wheel appeared on Zhao Feng's metal-covered arm. The edges were as sharp as blades and sparkled with lightning. As it spun, it created a layer of wind and light. Zhao Feng then circulated his true force, and the simplified wheel of light and darkness turned into a mechanical arm that was slightly bigger than an adult's arm. This simplified wheel of light and darkness has merged the power of wind lightning into it, increasing its cutting and destructive power. Although its grade isn't as high as the complete version, it's without a doubt more perfect. Taigon Master praised. Tiamat couldn't help but give it a try, and praised, using the smallest true spirit to activate a stronger attack power, and adding the power of wind and lightning, its speed, cutting power, and destructive power are all far beyond the same grade divine weapons. As he spoke, there was a hint of envy in his tone. If it wasn't for the fact that his cultivation had reached the peak true lord rank and the simplified wheel of light and darkness wasn't strong enough, he might have wanted to trade. I'm planning on sending this new wheel of light and darkness to the cloud area. Zhao Feng spoke his thoughts. Tiamat smiled and told the experts of the Iron Blood religion to personally send the wheel of light and darkness to the first elder of the Broken Moon clan. Zhao Feng let out a long breath after giving the new wheel of light and darkness to the first elder of the Broken Moon clan. One of the reasons he came to the Canopy Great Country was to help his master refine the wheel of light and darkness. Now, this matter had finally been settled. On the same night, the Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan flew through the air. The Blood Dragon sedan was quite spacious, and Zhao Feng and Jiang Sanfeng were both inside. Zhao Feng, not only did you return safely, your strength has also increased by leaps and bounds. Congratulations. The Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion couldn't help but sigh. With these words, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi both felt the same way. A year ago, Zhao Feng was still a genius on the same level as them. In just a short period of time, Zhao Feng's strength had reached the same level as the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. Furthermore, Zhao Feng was an overwhelming prodigy of the continent and belonged to the new generation. It was hard to predict his future. As they spoke, the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion couldn't help but be curious about the unknown inheritance. Zhao Feng briefly mentioned the situation of the Purple Saint ruins, but he didn't mention the part about Zhao Yufei inheriting the ruins. The Purple Saint ruins actually has geniuses from 3 2-star sects entering the trial. And one of them is 2.5 stars. However, even then, the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion was stunned. What made him admire the most was that Zhao Feng was able to survive in such an environment and obtain his inheritance. As for his inheritance, Zhao Feng didn't hide it, only saying that it came from a Void God Realm expert. The Void God Realm is a requirement for 2-star sections. The Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion's expression was filled with admiration. Even a normal Void God Realm was a legend to the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion and the entire continent. Several days later, the Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan returned to the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion. Deputy Patriarch, I have something to give you. Zhao Feng suddenly spoke and took out a drop of mysterious green liquid from a dark green gourd. The Deputy Patriarch's eyes narrowed and he blurted out, could this be the elixir of life? The green liquid exuded a rich and pure aura of life, and even a wisp of the aura of the origin of life. That's right, this is the elixir of life. Zhao Feng smiled. After giving out this drop of elixir of life, Zhao Feng still had one last drop left. Elixir of life, this is great. Zhao Feng, I don't know how to thank you. The Deputy Patriarch was extremely excited and he almost started to speak incoherently. It was obvious that the elixir of life was too important to the Deputy Patriarch and the Iron Blood religion. Patriarch, this drop of elixir of life can be considered as repayment for the Patriarch's kindness. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed as he tried to test the waters. He had long suspected that the mysterious scarlet-haired old man was the Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. Tiamat smiled. Zhao Feng, you're right. The person you saw that day was the patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. After saying that, Tiamat no longer hesitated and brought Zhao Feng into the underground palace deep within the hall. This was Zhao Feng's second time coming to this secret palace. Inside the palace, an old man with thick eyebrows and scarlet-haired was lying on a purple gold bed. The skin of the scarlet-haired old man was dry and there was almost no trace of life from him. He was in a state of suspended animation. "Brother Hong, I'm here." Tiamat's face was full of joy as he quickly walked to the bed. The scarlet-haired old man slowly opened his eyes and said in a weak voice, "I can't maintain my current state for long. Don't disturb me unless it's urgent." The instant the scarlet-haired old man opened his eyes, Zhao Feng felt a boundless spiritual aura. "Brother Hong, look at what this is." Tiamat laughed and raised his hand. The scarlet-haired old man looked at it and a light flashed in his eyes as he blurted out, "Elixir of life." At this moment, the aura from the scarlet-haired old man spread and an invisible mental energy pressure seemed to resonate with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Zhao Feng felt a heavy pressure. Ever since he had returned to the Azure Flower continent, no one had been able to give him such pressure. The only ones that could give him such pressure were Lu Tianyi and the skeletal division leader. However, even those two couldn't be compared to the scarlet-haired old man. While Zhao Feng was dazed, the scarlet-haired old man had already consumed the elixir of life. In the next scene, the scarlet-haired old man's dry skin, pale white face, and weak aura all started to recover. This feeling was like an old man suddenly regaining his last bit of energy. Furthermore, it wasn't just a temporary recovery, but a true recovery. It's indeed worthy of being the legendary elixir of life replenishing holy elixir. My foundation has already recovered by 30 to 40%. The scarlet-haired old man's face started to glow red with joy. This made the mental energy aura radiating from him even more terrifying, enough to make normal true lord ranks look up to him. Whoosh! Suddenly, the heaven and earth yuan qi roared above the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion like a tidal wave. The scarlet-haired old man was like a dry ocean that sucked in vast amounts of yuan qi and became the center of a whirlpool of heaven-earth yuan qi. This powerful aura commanded the surrounding yuan qi and reigned supreme in the heaven-earth yuan qi. This level, could it be? Zhao Feng felt minuscule in front of this ocean of yuan qi. Those at the true lord rank could resonate with the heaven-earth yuan qi on a small scale and stood at the top of the pyramid. However, this scarlet-haired old man's cultivation was even higher. He seemed to rely on the heaven-earth yuan qi and became the center of the whirlpool. He didn't need to deliberately respond. The boundless qi of heaven and earth was like a river flowing into the sea, directly absorbed by him. It was almost endless. This level was much higher than the three heavens of the true spirit realm. Chapter 504. In the underground palace. Zhao Feng seemed to be in the center of a violent hurricane. Heaven and earth yuan qi that covered the sky and covered the earth roared and drew over, producing a natural heavenly might. Any true lord rank in this situation would be like a small boat in a storm. The higher the realm of one's senses, the greater the pressure one had to bear. On the other hand, if it was an ordinary person with poor sensitivity to the heaven-earth yuan qi, perhaps they would not feel so much pressure. "It's actually this guy," a slightly surprised voice came from the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. Through the connection of the dark heart seed, it sounded in Zhao Feng's mind. Zhao Feng paused. He didn't expect the skeletal division leader to know the Iron Blood religion's patriarch. However, thinking about it, the skeletal division leader was an expert of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. It had lived for several hundred years and was an origin core realm sovereign at its peak, so it wasn't strange that it knew the Iron Blood religion's patriarch. Without a doubt, this crimson-haired old man was an exalt at his peak. This was not the first time that Zhao Feng had encountered the concept of the primal core realm. The first time was the Canopy Great Imperial Family's Grand Elder. However, Although this Grand Elder was at the half-step Primal Core realm, he had only touched the edge of the Primal Core realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to worry about the Iron Blood Religion's Deputy Patriarch. The second time was against Lu Tianyi in the Purple Saint Ruins. Lu Tianyi's intent wasn't much weaker than a true Origin Core realm. Zhao Feng reckoned that if Lu Tianyi was not poisoned to death by the Little Scorpion, he might be able to break through to the Supremacy realm within a year or two. Then, he returned to the mainland. The Skeletal Division leader had also displayed the intent of the Origin Core realm. This time, the Scarlet-Haired Patriarch's Primal Core realm state was vast and vast. It was so close and so intense. This state of mind allows one to become the center of the world. Relying on nature, one doesn't need to intentionally resonate with one another, and the origin energy in the surroundings will pay homage to one another. It will elevate one's life to the level of the macroscopic universe. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and carefully sensed the vast realm of the Primal Core realm. Even though this vast realm of cultivation was still an insurmountable chasm for the current Zhao Feng was still unable to cross it. However, this did not stop him from trying to comprehend, learn, and grasp the level of this realm. Zhao Feng even compared the Scarlet-Haired Patriarch's cultivation to Lu Tianyi and the Skeletal Division leader, and he found some similarities. This was the essence of the Primal Core realm. After comparing and summarizing, Zhao Feng gradually gained a trace of understanding in his heart. At the same time, he had even more questions and questions. Of the Scarlet-Haired Patriarch, the Skeletal Division leader, and Lu Tianyi, the Scarlet-Haired Patriarch's intent is the strongest. The Skeletal Division leader's intent is weird and unfathomable, while Lu Tianyi's intent seems to be more profound and close to the origin of heaven and earth. Zhao Feng came to a conclusion that surprised even himself. In terms of the richness of one's intent, Lu Tianyi was inferior to these two. However, in terms of profundity, it seemed to faintly surpass the two. The reason for this, Zhao Feng could only conclude that Lu Tianyi came from the legendary 2.5-star super sect, Pure Moon spiritual sect. The higher a sect was, the more profound their techniques were. Furthermore, even if Lu Tianyi wasn't the head disciple of the Pure Moon spiritual sect, he was at least one of the top core disciples. This was because the Purple Saint Ruins also had an age limit. For example, one of the organizers of the Tea Party, the Three-Eyed Saint, didn't participate in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering due to the age limit. Time passed by slowly. Zhao Feng stood still and sensed the intent of the Origin Core realm, almost entering a state of comprehension. Although this comprehension didn't allow Zhao Feng to quickly reach the Origin Core realm, his mental energy intent had increased and was stronger than normal peak True Lord ranks. Until a certain moment. That intense aura of intent gradually receded, and the yuan qi of heaven and earth returned to its calm state, like the surface of a still lake. Zhao Feng. A voice that was as vigorous as iron rang in his ears. The red-haired old man sat cross-legged on the bed. His face had regained some color, and he looked pleasantly surprised. Patriarch Hong. Zhao Feng instantly exited his comprehension state and bowed. Zhao Feng. I only mentioned it casually. I didn't think you'd actually do it and bring the elixir of life from the inheritance. The scarlet-haired elder's expression was filled with gratitude and joy. He only mentioned it casually and didn't have much hope. This was because the chances of encountering treasures like the elixir of life that could restore one's life was extremely low even if one entered an outer realm inheritance. Furthermore, the competition in the inheritances was extremely fierce. Zhao Feng's strength back then seemed to only be able to reach the top 100 to 50 true dragon geniuses. If it wasn't for the Patriarch's Ball of Ice Soul and Dark Eye incomplete page, I wouldn't have been able to improve so much and compete with the overwhelming prodigies of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering and the geniuses of the outside world. Zhao Feng's words were honest, and he was also grateful to the scarlet-haired elder. The Ball of Ice Soul allowed him to step into the ancient Tao of the soul. This was the most suitable path for the god's spiritual eye. The Dark Eye Incomplete page had provided Zhao Feng with a large amount of eye bloodline techniques, allowing Zhao Feng to go further in using his eye bloodline. It could be said that the two items that the Iron Blood Religion Patriarch had given him had changed Zhao Feng's fate. The crimson-haired old man was startled. He pondered for a moment and couldn't help but smile. This peck and drink might be a form of karma. Hearing this, Zhao Feng had an indescribable feeling. However, one thing was certain, the scarlet-haired patriarch had helped Zhao Feng and Zhao Feng had helped the scarlet-haired patriarch. However, the elixir of life that you brought could be considered to have saved the life of our sect. This debt of gratitude is even greater. Zhao Feng, what other requests do you have? I'll do my best to fulfill them. The scarlet-haired elder stroked his beard and smiled as he inspected Zhao Feng with admiration. Zhao Feng had a quality, and that was knowing how to repay kindness. And for such a super genius, regardless of good or evil, which elder would not want to nurture him? Patriarch, I brought the elixir of life back to repay the favor from back then. I don't want anything else. Zhao Feng said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone. From his point of view, the scarlet-haired elder had helped him in the past, and now that he had saved his life, the two of them were even and they didn't owe each other anything. Ha ha ha. Zhao Feng, you're good. The scarlet-haired elder let out a long laugh as he inspected Zhao Feng, his admiration growing. If it was a normal genius, which one of them wouldn't be overjoyed to receive the help of a sovereign? Zhao Feng, on the other hand, was extremely calm. Of course, what moved the scarlet-haired elder was Zhao Feng's potential and his eye bloodline that even he couldn't see through. Brother Hong, Zhao Feng has become an overwhelming prodigy in this sacred true dragon gathering and is on the same level as Yu Tianhao. Tiamat took this chance to tell him about Zhao Feng's glory in the sacred true dragon gathering. He even mentioned how he had killed several true lord ranks not long ago. During this process, even with cult leader Hong's vast experience, he was still dumbfounded and in disbelief. At the end, Patriarch Hong couldn't help but take a deep breath. He didn't think that he had underestimated Zhao Feng. Tiamat, your eyes are indeed good. I didn't think that Zhao Feng would be able to fight Yu Tianhao to a draw. Although Yu Tianhao's father, Yu Xingqian, is a sovereign of the Sacred Alliance like me, his strength is monstrous and even I can't beat him at my peak. Patriarch Hong sighed. He knew Yu Tianhao's strength very well. Sovereign Yu Xingqian was also a sovereign of the Sacred Alliance like him. Hearing this, Zhao Feng understood. No wonder some of the sovereigns from the Sacred Alliance seemed to know the deputy patriarch at the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. After knowing a sovereign, Zhao Feng started to understand this circle. In other words, the Sacred Alliance was just a group of sovereigns at the Origin Core realm that decided the fate of the continent. Back then, when the Scarlet Moon demonic religion was destroyed, the Sacred Alliance played a huge role. Brother Hong, now that you've recovered and Zhao Feng's strength isn't any weaker than mine. The Canopy Great Country is destined to belong to the Iron Blood religion. Tiamat said proudly. An Origin Core realm and 2 True Lord ranks comparable to normal half-step Origin Core realms. What force in the Canopy Great Country could fight against the Iron Blood religion? I've faked my death for so many years and will probably need 1 to 2 years to recover to my peak. Patriarch Hong said in a deep tone. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. He could see that Patriarch Hong's current state wasn't much stronger than the Scarlet Moon demonic religion division leader back in the Castle of Sand. Patriarch Hong's priority right now was to recover his Yuan Qi. Once Patriarch Hong recovered his True Lord rank strength, the Iron Blood religion might be able to force the great country to submit without a single soldier. I forgot about this factor. Furthermore, after the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, the remaining forces of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion have started to rise again. Even within the Canopy Great Country, there are forces attacking. The Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion's words suddenly changed. Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Patriarch Hong's eyes flashed and a mental energy aura of hatred seemed to freeze the entire underground palace. This news wasn't out of Zhao Feng's expectations. The situation of the cloud area could reflect the situation of the continent to a certain degree. Back then when he was on his way to the Great Country, he had found that some great countries had been taken over by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. If Zhao Feng's guesses were correct, the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's strategy was to swallow up the small countries and strong countries and slowly surround the great countries in the center of the continent. In the past year or so, some of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's experts have been stationed in some remote areas of the Canopy Great Country. The 8 great powers have all been invaded. Tiamat explained the general situation. Hearing this, Patriarch Hong and Zhao Feng's expressions became solemn. From the looks of it, was the era of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion about to descend upon the continent? Patriarch Hong had experienced the era of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion and knew how terrifying that era was. Several hundred years ago, the continent had almost been conquered by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Zhao Feng's heart went cold. He had offended or killed many experts of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. The 10,000 Ghost Pearl had even enslaved an upper echelon of the demonic religion. Zha. Zhao Feng, if you join the Scarlet Moon demonic religion now, you still have a chance to turn back. I can tell you that the patriarch of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion has already awakened, just like this sovereign in front of you. The skeletal division leader's gloomy voice sounded through the dark heart seed. It seemed to be quite pleased with itself. Chapter 505. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch is like this sovereign, he's already awakened and even earlier. Zhao Feng only half believed the skeletal division leader's words, and his heart shook. Could it be that the era of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion had arrived and the continent would fall into chaos? Patriarch has successfully obtained the Scarlet Moon inheritance, and the demonic religion will quickly recover. More forces will attack the Azure Flower continent. This isn't a secret to the upper echelons of the Sacred Alliance. The skeletal division leader said confidently. Zhao Feng snickered coldly and used his god's spiritual eye to activate the dark heart seed. The skeletal division leader instantly felt as if its soul was about to crumble. The aura of death made it tremble and not dare to act rashly. The Scarlet Moon demonic religion is a headache for the upper echelons of the Sacred Alliance. We just need to guard our territory. Patriarch Hong calmed down and said in a low tone. Tiamat nodded his head in agreement. The Iron Blood religion only needed to be in charge of the Canopy Great Country. Zhao Feng was also calm. Being the chapter leader of the Iron Blood religion, he only needed to be in charge of the Thousand Water chapter. On the other hand, the entire cloud area, the 2 strong countries, and the 13 countries were all controlled by Zhao Feng. However, Patriarch Hong's next words almost made Zhao Feng stumble. Zhao Feng, in order to thank you, I've made 2 decisions. The first is to make you the Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. He didn't know if he was surprised or happy, or maybe even a bit worried. The Iron Blood religion was a powerful force in Canopy Great Country. They used their Iron Blood methods to sweep through everything. To be able to become the Deputy Patriarch of the religion, it was a legendary existence that could only be looked up to by the billions of beings in the Great Country. Before Zhao Feng could reply, Tiamat smiled brightly, congratulations. Patriarch Zhao. Sect Master Hong was a venerable of the Primal Core realm, as well as the leader of a sect. His words carried enormous weight. Although Zhao Feng felt it was sudden, he didn't have a reason to reject. Becoming a deputy patriarch would increase one's status and power, and it would help Zhao Feng's cultivation. Furthermore, this was Patriarch Hong's goodwill, so Zhao Feng couldn't reject it. Thank you, Patriarch Hong. Zhao Feng didn't feel too happy or worried. A weird light flashed in Patriarch Hong's eyes. From the looks of it, the position of deputy patriarch wasn't very attractive to Zhao Feng. He had promoted Zhao Feng primarily out of his appreciation and gratitude toward Zhao Feng. Of course, he also had to admit that he was trying to rope Zhao Feng in. Patriarch Hong, your second decision, could it be? Patriarch Hong, your second decision, Tiama Tian Tiama Hong. Zhao Feng instantly became focused. Patriarch Hong was a sovereign at the Origin Core realm and a member of the Sacred Alliance. His power wasn't just normal. Back then, Patriarch Hong had given him these two items, and they had changed Zhao Feng's fate. Zhao Feng faintly sensed that the meaning behind this second decision might not be simple. I plan to go to the Sacred Alliance and help you obtain a special spot. That's a chance to step onto the true stage of the world. The smile on Patriarch Hong's face became wider. A chance to step onto the true stage of the world. Zhao Feng's heart moved, but he was slightly confused. Patriarch Hong, could it be that you want him to enter the Sacred Alliance? Tiama's expression changed slightly. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised. From the conversation between the two, it wasn't hard to see that this chance wasn't ordinary. Please advise me, Patriarch. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be curious. Patriarch Hong smiled and said, Zhao Feng, you've been to the inheritances outside the region, so you should know that the Azure Flower Continent isn't a true continent. The world we're in is a limitless ocean. The Azure Flower Continent is also known as the Azure Flower Continent, but it's actually a small island in the limitless ocean. I know. Zhao Feng nodded his head and wasn't surprised. In the Purple Saint Ruins, he had interacted with the disciples of the Pure Moon spiritual sect. There was a legend that after the desolate continent shattered, it turned into billions of pieces of dust. Each speck of dust formed an island, which was similar to the Azure Flower Continent. Our Azure Flower Continent is only a small island in the limitless ocean, and there are 5 or 6 islands scattered nearby. All of these islands are ruled by a 2-star sect, and that's the Three Saints Temple. Patriarch Hong paused slightly. Three Saints Palace. A 2-star sect. Zhao Feng's heart shook. He didn't think that behind the Azure Flower Continent was a 2-star sect. Furthermore, the words Three Saints Palace were very familiar to Zhao Feng. Suddenly, a passage appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. The Three Saints Palace has already spread its wings in the realm of dust, and it's hard to shake it. Recently, it has even lured several 1-star sects to almost break the curse of 100 graves. Right now, the teleportation energy has been used up. This subordinate will go first. At this moment, Zhao Feng finally understood the meaning of this passage. It was obvious. The large force that had set up the forbidden ground of 100 graves had once tried to invade the Azure Flower Continent, but was stopped by the Three Saints Palace. That force should be related to the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. I'll tell you another truth. Several hundred years ago, the Scarlet Moon demonic religion swept across the continent and fought against the 10 great sects led by the Sacred Alliance. In essence, it was an extension of the Three Saints Palace and another 2-star sect. Patriarch Hong chuckled. Hearing this, Zhao Feng almost exclaimed, This is the truth of history. He never would have thought that the Scarlet Moon demonic religion had swept across the continent. That tragic and magnificent era would have such a shocking truth behind it. That's right. Back then, the Azure Flower Continent was just a battlefield between 2 2-star sections. In the end, the Three Saints Palace won, and the other 2-star sect was a bit further away, so they lost. Tiama seemed to know the secret and added. Hearing this, Zhao Feng was stunned and took a long time to calm down. The enormous Azure Flower Continent was just a battlefield between 2 2-star sections. The Patriarch is telling me all this about the Three Saints Palace. Could it be? Zhao Feng's heart jumped as a thought appeared in his mind. Hee, that's right. I'm planning to recommend you into the Three Saints Palace. This is the dream of all the true dragon geniuses of the continent. Because I'm a core member of the Sacred Alliance, I have the right to recommend you. Patriarch Hong said in a serious tone. Join the 2-star sect, the Three Saints Palace. Zhao Feng's heartbeat sped up. In the Purple Saint ruins, he had competed with the geniuses of the outside world and knew how terrifying two-star sects were. Including the Azure Flower Continent, several continents, one-star sects, countless forces, and countries belonged to the Three Saints' Palace. Patriarch Zhao, I believe that with your talent and potential, it won't be hard for you to join the Three Saints' Palace and even become a core disciple. Tiamat joked. In this era, the Azure Flower Continent was at an unprecedented peak. It shouldn't be a problem for an overwhelming prodigy like Zhao Feng to join the Three Saints' Palace. Once I join a two-star sect, I'll be able to enter the outside world and step onto the true stage, but, Zhao Feng's thoughts suddenly spun. Due to some reason, Zhao Feng's heart sank. Patriarch Hong. Thank you for your good intentions, but I can't make a decision about joining the Three Saints' Palace yet. Zhao Feng took a deep breath. What? The expressions of Patriarch Hong and Tiamat instantly froze as they looked at Zhao Feng in disbelief. They originally thought that Zhao Feng would agree without hesitation. However, they didn't think that Zhao Feng would refuse and wouldn't be able to make a decision in a short period of time. Zhao Feng, you can think about it first. I'll wait at least a year and a half and recover most of my Yuan Qi before going to the Sacred Alliance. Patriarch Hong was slightly disappointed, but he didn't ask for the reason. A moment later, Zhao Feng and Tiamat left the underground palace together. Tiamat couldn't help but be curious. Patriarch Zhao, do you still need to think about such a good opportunity? Zhao Feng sighed, but he didn't know how to explain it. There were two main reasons why he couldn't immediately agree to this opportunity. The first reason was the Purple Saint ruins. Zhao Yufei was still in the Purple Saint ruins, and according to the sage's predictions, she was most likely dead. Zhao Feng couldn't abandon her. Furthermore, he needed more resources to complete the 100 Corpses plan, so he needed to enter the Purple Saint ruins. If he could cultivate in the Purple Saint ruins, the effect would be no less than a two-star sect, and it might even be better. The second reason was his fiancée, Lu Qinxin. If he couldn't confirm Lu Qinxin's whereabouts, Zhao Feng wouldn't be able to rest easy. He even had a distant plan. Once he had a certain amount of strength, he would go to the vast outside world to find the Sky Saint Zither inheritance. These two reasons made it so that Zhao Feng couldn't easily join the Three Saints' Palace. Once he joined a two-star sect, he would be restricted and lose his freedom. Several days later, the news of a new deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion started to spread across the country. The Iron Blood religion was first shaken. Everyone knew that the current leader of the Iron Blood religion was Deputy Patriarch Tiamat. And now, the Iron Blood religion had a new deputy patriarch. This was enough to cause waves in the Canopy Great Country. According to some sources, the person who appointed him was Patriarch Hong, who had been asleep for many years. This news shook the entire Canopy Great Country and was enough to shock many sects in the northern continent. If the rumors were true and the Iron Blood religion had truly risen, even the number one sect in the northern continent, the Heavenly Yuan clan, would be moved. A month later, the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion, in a majestic hall. Greetings, Deputy Patriarch Zhao. On the two sides, the experts of the Iron Blood religion bowed. The weakest of the figures present were at the true human rank. Some of them were elites from the headquarters, while others came from the divisions. The ones closest to Zhao Feng were Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng. Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng had now become Zhao Feng's left and right arms and members of the upper echelon of the Iron Blood religion. After the greetings, the hall was dead silent. On the throne, Zhao Feng's eyes were slightly closed and he didn't speak immediately. This was the first time he was in charge of the religion after becoming the deputy patriarch. The reason was because Tiamat had recently left the headquarters to clear out the remnants of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Below, everyone held their breaths and some looked uneasily at the blue-haired youth on the throne. As the saying goes, a new official has to be strict. Right now, the Iron Blood religion was temporarily managed by Zhao Feng. The upper echelon of the Iron Blood religion didn't know what was waiting for them. Chapter 506. Great Hall of the Iron Blood Religion. Zhao Feng sat on the patriarch's throne and slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, Jiang Sanfeng reminded, Deputy Patriarch, according to tradition, the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion has a meeting every month. You need to tell your subordinates to report some important matters. At the same time, you need to make a decision. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed as he rubbed his forehead. For the past month or so, he had either been in seclusion or mobilized his troops to gather some resources. In this period of time, Zhao Feng had participated in a mission to clear out the remnants of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, but when he arrived, only a few small fries were left. Let's begin. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned across the upper echelon of the Iron Blood religion. At this instant, an invisible pressure appeared in the hall. The mental energy aura of a true lord rank was enough to make normal true human ranks and true mystic ranks feel uneasy. Zhao Feng's soul was as strong as those at the origin core realm, and his mental energy level was even stronger than Tiamat's. So terrifying. Just one glance almost made my mind collapse. This new Deputy Patriarch Zhao's mental energy pressure seems to be even stronger than Patriarch Tiamat's. The upper echelon's hearts shook when they saw Zhao Feng's gaze. They had all heard of the legends of this new cult master Zhao. Escaping the marriage in the flooding lake city, kidnapping Empress Qin, sweeping the Thousand Water chapter, becoming famous in the sacred True Dragon gathering, becoming an overwhelming prodigy. Most recently, he had defeated several true lord ranks and even killed the Qin Sword Palace master. So much glory had been bestowed on a rising star. There was no other person in the entire country who could do this. In the current Canopy Great Country, Zhao Feng was one of the top figures and his name could be counted on one hand. What? You don't have anything to say? Very good, I was just about to go on a long trip. Zhao Feng smiled as he looked at the dazed group and prepared to leave. The True Dragon Tea Party was getting closer and closer. Zhao Feng wanted to join in the fun and see the strength of the continent's strongest bloodline. Deputy Patriarch, please wait. We still have something to report. The upper echelons of the church blurted out in panic. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi looked at each other with a weird expression. From the looks of it, Zhao Feng wanted to leave them behind and go on his own. Deputy Patriarch Zhao. The reason why the operation to exterminate the remnants of the Red Moon religion failed was due to the fact that there were spies among the higher-ups of the Iron Blood religion. A true mystic rank protector bowed and said, Spies? As soon as these words were spoken, a commotion arose in the hall. After the fall of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, the remaining members of the demonic religion were scattered across the continent. Some of them even joined forces of various sizes. Patriarch Zhao Feng had Patriarch Zhao Feng. He had also participated in the last operation to exterminate the remnants of Qiyu. Originally, they had discovered a demon cult stronghold, but when they rushed over, only a few old, weak, sick, and disabled people were left. Zhao Feng had basically wiped out the cloud area. However, the Canopy Great Country was too big. It was at least tens of times bigger than the cloud area, and there were many different forces. As for the mole incident, everyone discussed it, but Zhao Feng didn't say anything. His God's spiritual eye could see through the essence of the world, and it also had a mysterious power that could affect one's mind. Being swept by Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye, everyone felt as though their hearts were being seen through. 1, 2, 3, a cold smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Not only did he have the God's spiritual eye and a profound mental eye bloodline technique, there was also a division leader of the Scarlet Moon demonic race in the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. Zhao Feng silently noted down the few members of the middle and upper echelons of the cult whose minds he had seen through and who were suspicious. Let's leave this matter for later. Zhao Feng waved his hand and put this matter aside for now. Next, all sorts of complicated matters were given to Zhao Feng. The chapter leader of the Purple Leaf chapter has retired and is currently lacking a chapter leader. Deputy Patriarch, please make a decision. One of the branch's vice branch masters had an expectant look on his face, as if he wanted to give it a try. The Qin Sword Palace has no leader and we have tried to swallow some of their territory, but the Imperials and the main Lu family have stopped us. An old chapter leader sighed. The Qin Sword Palace only exists in name now, and the first elder of the Lu family has fallen. The Iron Blood religion has the power to rule over everything. This subordinate still suggests that we work together to get rid of the dissidents and establish a new ruler. Get rid of the dissidents and establish a new ruler. Many of the ambitious upper echelons of the cult agreed with them. The one who said, get rid of the dissidents and establish a new ruler, was an elder of the main chapter whose cultivation had reached the late stages of the true mystic rank. Establish a new ruler. This isn't hard for the Iron Blood religion. However, the biggest danger right now is still the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he stared at the ambitious elder. Instantly, everyone's gazes followed the deputy patriarch to the elder. This subordinate just wants the Iron Blood religion to quickly become a one-star power. Being stared at like that, the headquarter elder suddenly felt weak, cold sweat oozing out of his forehead. Men, take him down. Zhao Feng ordered. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi, who were on either side of him, quickly moved and pressed the head branch elder to the ground. The hearts of the experts in the hall shook and they didn't know what was going on. Deputy Patriarch Zhao, even if you're the Deputy Patriarch, you can't punish me for no reason. Otherwise, how will you convince the others? That head elder didn't dare to resist, but he cried out his grievance with a miserable face. You still dare to argue? In this era where the demonic religion is reviving, what are you trying to do? An unstoppable mental energy shot out from Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye. With a boom, the elder's heart shook and his mental defense was instantly broken. Some of the higher-ups of the church came to a sudden realization. If the Canopy Great Country started a war, who would benefit the most? It was obviously the Scarlet Moon demonic religion that was rising again. Then, Zhao Feng didn't even need to use his Eye of Heart to make the Protector's mental collapse reveal his identity as a spy. In just a short while, Zhao Feng had found a traitor of the demonic religion. The upper echelons present felt their hearts go cold. Of course, the reason why Zhao Feng was sure it was this person was because he had found something suspicious with his God's spiritual eye. An hour later, the hearts of the members in the Iron Blood religion hall trembled. 2 or 3 spies were pulled out by Zhao Feng mainly due to his eye bloodline. Of course, these spies weren't all from the demonic religion. Over half of them were from the Imperials. Several days later, the headquarters of the Iron Blood religion was filled with killing intent. Everyone was panicking as the spies were cleaned out one after another. All of this was because of the new Deputy Patriarch's insight. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng's name covered the entire headquarters. In just a few days, he had killed more than 10 upper echelons of the religion. How could people not be shocked? This also caused the upper echelons of the religion to tremble in fear whenever Zhao Feng's gaze swept over. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Feng had been in charge of the religion for over half a month and the headquarters had been cleaned out. Finally, on this day, Deputy Patriarch Tiamat returned and found that the entire headquarters was filled with killing intent. The aura was even sharper than before. Tiamat was surprised, but after knowing the truth, he was filled with admiration and joy. Zhao Feng's actions had pulled out a tumor one by one for the Iron Blood religion. It was more effective than killing 10 times or even 100 times more enemies. On the same night, Zhao Feng found Tiamat and the two met in a secret hall. I'm about to go on a long trip, so I'll leave some matters to Brother Tiamat. Zhao Feng said. After Timo returned, he felt a sense of relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. With the god's spiritual eye, he could see through people's hearts to a certain degree. As long as the opponent's cultivation was lower than his, they wouldn't be able to escape. Therefore, Zhao Feng was rather efficient in dealing with the internal affairs of the religion. However, this wasn't the path he wanted to walk. "Oh. You must be going to the True Dragon Tea Party at this time, right?" Tiamat said without hesitation. After all, he had participated in the sacred True Dragon gathering before, but his ranking wasn't as high as Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng nodded his head and smiled. He wanted to see how much the prodigies had improved. He was also slightly interested in the three-eyed saint, who had the strongest eye bloodline on the continent. "With your strength, Yu Tianhao is probably the only one in the younger generation who can match up to you. However, you need to pay attention to the three-eyed saint," Tiamat warned. "Oh. Three-eyed saint?" Zhao Feng was slightly interested. The three-eyed saint won 2 sacred True Dragon gatherings before Yu Tianhao. He's already in his 50s and shouldn't be considered part of the younger generation. Furthermore, he was recommended by the Sacred Alliance to join the Three Saints Palace several years ago. He's now a deacon in the Three Saints Palace. Tiamat slowly said. Three Saints Palace? A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. He didn't think that the three-eyed saint was already a member of the Three Saints Palace and a deacon. His three-eyed light is said to be unbreakable and indestructible. It has always been the strongest eye bloodline on the continent. When the time comes, he'll probably challenge you to a duel regardless of age. That's because the three-eyed saint and goddess Bing Wei seem to be engaged. Worry appeared in Tiamat's eyes. The battle between Zhao Feng and Yu Tianhao might be 50-50. However, the three-eyed saint wasn't the same age as them and he came from a two-star sect. So that's how it is. The three-eyed saint and goddess Bing Wei are engaged. Zhao Feng was stunned. Tiamat told Zhao Feng about the three-eyed saint's eye bloodline. Zhao Feng didn't ignore it and listened carefully. Thank you, Brother Tiamat, for the reminder. However, even if the three-eyed saint doesn't do anything, I still want to challenge him. Zhao Feng's voice was filled with confidence. In the distant realm of ice, a male and female walked side by side in a palace made of ice and snow. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline's abilities include mental energy illusions, eye bloodline flames, and ice. Goddess Bing Wei explained in detail. Beside her was a golden-haired young man with a cold expression and shoulders that seemed as if they were carved by a blade. There was a third eye on his forehead, but it was closed, so his true appearance couldn't be seen. Sister Wei, don't worry. My sacred eye bloodline has awakened to the third stage and can counter almost all eye bloodlines under the origin core realm. Chapter 507. Several days later. In the main headquarters of the Iron Blood religion stood a few young figures in front of an empty martial arts field. Zhao Feng still hasn't come out. How long do we have to wait? A young man with disheveled hair and a dirty face, dressed in flowery clothes, crossed his arms, and had a frivolous appearance. Wang Xiaoguai. You've got guts to be rude to the deputy patriarch in the territory of the Iron Blood religion. Jiang Sanfeng said sharply. Wang Xiaoguai snorted, his face full of resentment, and his expression became more restrained. Next to Wang Xiaoguai were two youths. One was a golden-robed brown-haired youth and the other was a handsome battle-robed youth. So, these three were the true dragon geniuses of the Canopy Great Country and were preparing to participate in the tea party. The two next to Wang Xiaoguai were Prince Jin and Tian Yunji. The Canopy Great Country's performance in this sacred true dragon gathering was unexpectedly good and they had the most true dragon geniuses out of all the great countries. Just the Iron Blood religion alone had 3 true dragon geniuses, Zhao Feng, Jiang Sanfeng, and Dai Yi. Jiang Sanfeng, the tea party is a bit tight. If it wasn't for the fact that we had to wait for Zhao Feng, we would have left a month ago. Prince Jin couldn't help but complain. The reason they had to wait for Zhao Feng was because he was not only the #1 genius of the great country but also the overwhelming prodigy of the continent. If they could go with Zhao Feng, they would be able to help each other at the tea party. Simply put, Zhao Feng was the leader of the great country's geniuses and even the king of the northern continent. Deputy Patriarch Xiao said to leave on time. Jiang Sanfeng said confidently. Right at this moment, the sound of flying appeared. The Deputy Patriarch will be here soon. A girl in pink floated down with a smile. It was Dai Yi. As soon as her words finished, a slight numbing feeling came from the martial arts field. Shua. A blue-haired figure landed at almost the same time as Dai Yi. Zhao Feng. Prince Jin and Tian Yunji's eyes were filled with shock. The two of them didn't even see how Zhao Feng had appeared. They were certain that Dai Yi had left much earlier than Zhao Feng, but the latter had arrived at the same time. Yes, everyone is here. Get ready to go. Zhao Feng said straightforwardly. Are we leaving now? Wang Xiaoguai stared fixedly at Zhao Feng. His face was filled with fear, but he struggled to hide his intense battle intent. Jiang Sanfeng smiled and said, Vice Sect Master, before we set off, we would like to exchange pointers with the Sect Master so that we don't lose face at the True Dragon Tea Party. All right. Zhao Feng did not object. Clearly, these people had gathered at the martial arts practice field for the same reason. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned across the three. Wang Xiaoguai, Prince Jin and Tian Yunji's cultivation had all reached the early stages of the true mystic rank, and Prince Jin's cultivation was close to the late stages of the true mystic rank. Jiang Sanfeng had just broken through to the true mystic rank and Dai Yi was still at the peak true human rank. Compared to before the sacred true dragon gathering, they had improved greatly and lived up to their name. As soon as Zhao Feng's voice fell, the sparring began. The first to go up was Wang Xiaoguai. He glared fiercely at Jiang Sanfeng, as if holding a grudge against the latter for scolding him earlier. Jiang Sanfeng wasn't scared. He had recently broken through to the true mystic rank and his inheritance technique had reached a higher level. On the martial arts practice field, the two figures soon clashed. Zhao Feng watched with interest. However, the speed at which the victor was decided was faster than he imagined. Sky Ape Divine Luo. Wang Xiaoguai beat his chest with both fists and roared. His skin became like diamond and his hair stood on end. A golden pattern appeared and his body suddenly expanded like a diamond monkey. The moment Wang Xiaoguai punched out, the earth shook and the formless power of his body shook the air. A purple fist shadow surrounded by a layer of dazzling golden spots appeared with the naked eye. The power was enough to shatter mountains. The power of the fist made Jiang Sanfeng suffocate and almost spit out blood. Boom! Jiang Sanfeng's inherited battle skill was shattered by Wang Xiaoguai's punch, and he was sent flying. Jiang Sanfeng! Dai Yi exclaimed in disbelief and immediately went to help Jiang Sanfeng up. That fist made Jiang Sanfeng unable to get up. One move to decide the victor. The two weren't on the same level. This Wang Xiaoguai's bloodline has awakened after entering the inheritance and his growth is probably the fastest out of everyone here. Zhao Feng's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoguai to be so strong. Jiang Sanfeng didn't lose unjustly. Wang Xiaoguai defeated him with an overwhelming advantage. Although Wang Xiaoguai was only at the early stages of the true mystic rank, his battle power wasn't much weaker than the 5 overwhelming prodigies. To this, Prince Jin and Tian Yunji weren't surprised. We've all lost to this brat in the past half a year. Prince Jin said unhappily. Zhao Feng and company understood. So before Zhao Feng returned, Wang Xiaoguai was the #1 genius of Canopy Great Country. After that, a brilliant battle unfolded between Prince Jin and Tian Yunji. After dozens of exchanges, Tian Yunji's Tian and Yun family bloodlines exploded and his blade intent slashed through the clouds, defeating Prince Jin. Tian Yunji, I didn't think you'd improve so much. Prince Jin was slightly bitter. The former #1 genius of great country had died. A few months ago, he and Tian Yunji were evenly matched, but now he was suppressed by Tian Yunji. Zhao Feng nodded his head in his heart. Tian Yunji's potential was huge. Not only did he have a bloodline inheritance, but he had also comprehended blade intent. His strength was probably unmatched under the true lord rank. After winning, Tian Yunji's battle intent surged and he challenged Wang Xiaoguai. Wang Xiaoguai cackled and activated his bloodline battle skill. He was unstoppable as he punched out, causing cracks to appear on the ground. There weren't too many flashy moves, just simple and violent. 10 rounds later. Dang! Tian Yunji and his blade were sent flying by Wang Xiaoguai's fist. Wang Xiaoguai's body was strong and his physical strength could sweep through most true mystic rank cultivators. Furthermore, once he used his bloodline skill, his strength and defense would double and break through the barrier of cultivation. He. Wang Xiaoguai pounded his chest with his fists. His body was like a diamond with golden stripes on it. His powerful aura suppressed everyone. The nearby experts of the Iron Blood religion looked at Wang Xiaoguai in shock. Wang Xiaoguai was probably unrivaled under the true lord rank. In terms of defense, he wasn't any weaker than Shi Qingtian, one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. In terms of explosiveness, his bloodline had the advantage. Suddenly, Wang Xiaoguai had swept the entire battlefield. Okay, let's go. Zhao Feng gave a simple evaluation of the strengths and weaknesses of these people and prepared to leave. Tian Yunji and Prince Jin were enlightened after hearing the evaluation. Zhao Feng. Our battle hasn't even started yet. Wang Xiaoguai laughed weirdly and blocked Zhao Feng's path. Everyone paused. Wang Xiaoguai, you dare to challenge the deputy patriarch? Even some true lord ranks aren't deputy patriarch Xiao's match. Jiang Sanfeng shook his head and smiled. He was stunned by Wang Xiaoguai's punch just then and obviously didn't forget to attack Wang Xiaoguai. Many of the spectators laughed in astonishment. They all knew of Zhao Feng's fame. He had defeated several true lord ranks and even killed the Qin Sword Palace master. Although Wang Xiaoguai was strong, he was definitely not Zhao Feng's match. Of course, Prince Jin, Tian Yunji, and company were hopeful that Wang Xiaoguai would be able to find out more about Zhao Feng's strength. However, the result was destined to be disappointing. Begin. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and didn't refuse. Sky Ape Divine Luo. Without any hesitation, Wang Xiaoguai activated his bloodline battle skill. A layer of dazzling golden light appeared around him as he punched out, causing the ground to tremble. A golden-purple fist image covered the surrounding dozens of meters. Even normal true lord ranks would feel pressured by the difference in physical strength. Bam! Wang Xiaoguai's punch missed and a large fist-shaped ravine appeared in front of him that extended 100 yards. Everyone's vision blurred. By the time they found Zhao Feng, the battle was already over. Arg! Wang Xiaoguai was lifted into the air with his head down and feet up, waving his arms and legs. He wanted to struggle, but his body was bound by a layer of lightning and he couldn't help but beg for mercy. The people present could not help but be startled. Tian Yunji and Prince Jin looked at each other, their faces filled with shock. It was obvious that Zhao Feng's strength had reached a level that they couldn't see through. Okay, let's go. Zhao Feng let go of Wang Xiaoguai's leg in midair. Plop! Wang Xiaoguai's head fell down and created a human-shaped hole in the ground. If it was someone else at the true spirit realm, they would probably be bleeding, but no one was worried about his safety. On the same day, 6 true dragon geniuses from the Canopy Great Country left the main headquarters of the Iron Blood religion. The group of people all had high-quality flying beasts as mounts, so they switched places with each other. They flew without stopping, heading straight for the central continent at an extremely fast speed. After the sacred true dragon gathering, the 6 true dragon geniuses had made great improvements and didn't need to worry about the wilderness. Furthermore, with an overwhelming prodigy like Xiao Feng there, the elders of the Canopy Great Country didn't need to worry. 2 months later, the group of 6 finally entered the middle continent. Xiao Feng calculated the distance and found that it wasn't much further than the distance from the cloud area to the Canopy Great Country. This was because the middle continent was at the very center of the continent and wasn't far from the other continents. Therefore, it was more suitable to hold the tea party here. I heard that the middle continent is the strongest among the continents and has the most geniuses. For example, the Three-Eyed Saint and Yu Tianhao are both geniuses from the middle continent. Jiang Sanfeng sighed. Although they had all participated in the sacred true dragon gathering, they hadn't spent much time in the middle continent. We'll arrive at the tea party after 3 or 4 strong countries. Prince Jean took out the map. Soon, the flying spiritual pets of the 6 of them disappeared into the sky. Shua shua. In a dark forest several hundred miles away, 2 shadowy and blurry figures emerged. One of the 2 figures was a slender black-robed beauty, and the other was a tall, shadowy figure with a black crown on his head. Elder, it's just a few brats. The strongest one is only at the early stage True Lord rank. Why do you need to chase them yourself? Why don't you let me capture and kill them? The black-robed beauty said respectfully. These brats have the aura of the Scarlet Moon Division head token and seem to have just entered the middle continent. The Sacred Alliance has used these tokens as bait to ambush our experts. Don't act rashly. Chapter 508. In the air above a river in the northern part of the middle continent. The group of 6 from the Canopy Great Country sat on a large flying beast and headed toward their destination. Xiao Feng spent most of his time cultivating. After returning from the Purple Saint ruins, Xiao Feng started to cultivate the Wind Lightning Tablet and the Ice Imperial Spear. The former focused on his main cultivation technique, while the latter focused on how to use his bloodline. Between the two, Xiao Feng focused on the Wind Lightning Tablet because this inheritance was more complete. It was a peak existence amongst the other inheritances. Not many legacies could compare to the Wind Lightning Emperor's essence of speed. On the other hand, the information within the Ice Imperial Spear was slightly blurry and focused on how to use this Earth-grade weapon. At this moment, the power of wind lightning within Xiao Feng's body had a faint purple aura that only took up 1/20th of the original azure color. However, even then, Xiao Feng was still overjoyed. This meant that his comprehension and cultivation of the Wind Thunder Ancient Tablet had entered a new stage, Purple Wind Thunder. According to the information in the inheritance, the purple wind lightning contains a wisp of the laws of destruction and its power will increase dramatically. Because the purple wind lightning contains the laws of destruction, any injured being will face resistance when they want to recover. After comprehending the Wind Lightning Tablet for so long, Xiao Feng knew that the power of wind lightning would increase by dozens of times every time it reached a new level. Right at this moment, a voice sounded in his mind through the dark heart seed, Master, after entering the middle continent, we can gather more resources. I've already refined 2 or 3 true Lord rank ghost corpses. In reality, Xiao Feng's goal in coming to the middle continent was only to participate in the tea party. There were more resources in the middle continent that could help him cultivate and complete the 100 corpse plan. If Xiao Feng's strength could increase even further and he could complete the 100 corpse plan, no force in the middle continent wouldn't be wary of him. Skeletal Division Leader. Xiao Feng's voice was filled with coldness as it entered the Skeletal Division Leader's soul through the dark heart seed. The Skeletal Division Leader hiccuped and felt a sense of death. Xiao Feng only needed a single thought to destroy his soul. Xiao Feng, you, the Skeletal Division Leader's body froze. Since their soul power and mastery of the Tao of the soul weren't too far apart, Zhao Feng planted the dark heart seed deep within the skeletal division leader's soul. The latter had no chance of escaping. We seem to be targeted by someone. Perhaps it has something to do with the aura on your body. Zhao Feng said calmly. His god's spiritual eye started to scan the skeletal division leader within the 10,000 ghost pearl. The skeletal division leader's aura was too chaotic, so Zhao Feng didn't pay much attention to it. However, after entering the middle continent, he felt as if he was being targeted by someone. His god's spiritual eye would occasionally sense danger. Hearing this, the skeletal division leader fell into silence, and the flames in its eye sockets jumped. You don't have to answer, but I don't mind giving up on a servant that might bring unknown danger. Zhao Feng said casually. The skeletal division leader was very useful and could even recover to the origin core realm in a year or two. However, Zhao Feng wouldn't hesitate in the face of his life. Maybe it's because of this Scarlet Moon Division Leader token. The skeletal division leader flipped its hand and a transparent scarlet blood-colored token floated in front of it. The medallion seemed to be weightless. In fact, it didn't even seem like a normal material object as it floated in the space within the myriad ghost pearl. It's indeed unique. Through his god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng could only sense a faint aura that was connected to the skeletal division leader's own aura. If he didn't try to, he wouldn't be able to sense it. The skeletal division leader sighed, "Your senses are stronger than I expected. This Scarlet Moon Division head token is made from my own aura and special materials from the outer realm. Those that can sense this aura are at least division leaders, including the Scarlet Moon Elders and even the Patriarch." Scarlet Moon Division Leader Token. When Zhao Feng heard this, he couldn't help but take in a cold breath, his heart thumping wildly. This meant that the existence that was targeting Zhao Feng was at least at the level of a Scarlet Moon Division leader. If the Scarlet Moon Patriarch was nearby, he would be able to sense the Scarlet Moon Division Leader token. Of course, Zhao Feng could eliminate the possibility that the Scarlet Moon Patriarch was the Scarlet Moon Patriarch. If the existence targeting him was really that strong, there was nothing to worry about. Therefore, he was sure that the person targeting him wasn't much stronger than the skeletal division leader. The worst-case scenario was that it was a sovereign at the origin core realm. But you're hiding in the Ghost Pearl and should be isolated from the outside world. Why are we still being targeted? Zhao Feng found something suspicious and asked. He didn't believe that a holy weapon like the 10,000 Ghost Pearl would be able to sense the skeletal division leader's aura inside. The Scarlet Moon Division Leader token is connected to my aura. Because you often come into contact with me, both you and the Ghost Pearl have my aura. Furthermore, the materials used to make the Scarlet Moon Division Leader token didn't come from the Azure Flower continent, but from the Scarlet Moon inheritance. Several hundred years ago, it had many abilities, including sending messages within a certain range. If you kill me, the aura of the token will also be transferred to you, allowing other experts to take revenge. The Scarlet Moon Division Leader explained. Hearing this, Zhao Feng was even more surprised. There were countless existences in the outside world that he couldn't even imagine. Of course, if you don't trust me, you can destroy the Scarlet Moon Division Leader token or lose it. The Skeletal Division Leader said casually. Zhao Feng started to think expressionlessly. He couldn't understand the profundities of the Scarlet Moon Division Leader token. Once I destroy the token, I'll alert the enemy and the people following me will attack me. If I throw it away, I can't be sure if the Skeletal Division Leader will do anything to it and give the people following me a hint. Zhao Feng's thoughts spun. He soon made a decision and a bold plan appeared in his mind. Put this token away, Zhao Feng ordered. The Skeletal Division Leader couldn't help but be surprised. Zhao Feng knew that the token would be a great threat, but he didn't panic and destroy the token. It didn't know what Zhao Feng was planning, but it could only do as he said. After all, its life was in Zhao Feng's hands. I still have a killing card that I haven't used yet. I'll play with them for a while. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and ignored the dangerous aura coming from behind him. On the flying beast. The other 5 true dragon geniuses laughed. They had no idea what kind of dangerous situation they were in. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. In this period of time, they felt the prosperity of the Middle Continent. The development of the Middle Continent was indeed better than the Northern Continent. On this day, the flying beasts they were riding entered a beautiful landscape, and a shining golden metal castle appeared in their vision. The metal castle gave off a faint golden glow under the sunlight. It could be seen from thousands of miles away. Golden Sun Sacred City. This is where the tea party is being held. This Golden Sun Sacred City is said to have been created by the legendary, three-eyed heavenly monarch, using special materials from the outer realms. It has been around for at least a few thousand years. Everyone inspected the flying beast as it neared the Golden Sun Sacred City. Zhao Feng had heard Tiamat mention the Golden Sun Sacred City before. The owner of this sacred city was the strongest Eye bloodline family in the continent, the Golden Sun family. In other words, the tea party was being held in the territory of the Three-Eyed Saints family. He had gotten first in the last 2 sacred true dragon gatherings, and the Golden Sun family was comparable to the 10 great clans. No one doubted his ability to hold the tea party here. As they neared the Golden Sun Sacred City, Zhao Feng felt the dangerous aura behind them disappear. It was as if the upper echelon of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion was wary of the Golden Sun Sacred City. It's the Golden Sun family. The Scarlet Moon division leader gritted his teeth within the 10,000 ghost pearl. His eyes were filled with hatred, but he couldn't hide the respect in his heart. Zhao Feng was surprised. Even the skeletal division leader seemed to be wary of the Golden Sun family. Could it be that the skeletal division leader had suffered at the hands of the Golden Sun family before? As the flying beast under their feet neared the Golden Sun Sacred City, whoosh! 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 Zhao Feng and company flew into the air and landed in the air above the Golden Sun Sacred City. The Golden Sun Sacred City was a large castle that belonged to a family. As soon as Zhao Feng and company got close, they attracted the attention of the guards. 6 people so young, and they're all at the true spirit realm. One of them is even at the true lord rank. Zhao Feng and company's group would cause waves even in the sacred lands of the Middle Continent. Pass down my order. The overwhelming prodigy, Zhao Feng, has arrived at the Golden Sun Sacred City. The overwhelming prodigy, Zhao Feng, has arrived at the Golden Sun Sacred City. Loud voices echoed from the outside to the inside of the metal castle. It was obvious that an overwhelming prodigy like Zhao Feng was easily recognized. After all, the true dragon tea party was going to be held soon, and the Golden Sun family had prepared for it. In just a few breaths, the Golden Sun family within the castle broke out into chaos, especially the younger generation. The moment Zhao Feng and company arrived at the Golden Sun Sacred City, they were immediately inspected by countless gazes. Prince Jin, Wang Xiaoguai, Jiang Sanfeng and the others felt a little guilty, but they also felt an inexplicable excitement and heroism. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi both felt a sense of joy and pride. Being in the peak family of the continent and being looked at with respect and admiration was an indescribable feeling. Even though they knew that all this glory belonged to Zhao Feng, they were still shocked. He's Zhao Feng, the overwhelming prodigy king. Even our sacred son didn't have such a title back then. The gazes within the metallic castle were filled with respect and admiration. After all, there weren't many young true lord ranks in the entire continent. This Zhao Feng's arrogant. His Eye bloodline swept the sacred true dragon gathering and now he stepped into the territory of the strongest Eye bloodline family. Of course, there were also a few unfriendly gazes. Zhao Feng was calm as he entered the castle, ignoring the gazes of the Golden Sun family. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. The voices of the younger generation came from within the Golden Sun family, including some young girls. Chapter 509. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. The entire Golden Sun sacred city broke into chaos. The overwhelming prodigy was definitely the main character of this tea party. On top of that, the newcomer was the youngest of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Although there were a few other overwhelming prodigies in Golden Sun's sacred city, their fame couldn't be compared to this person. This is the strongest true dragon genius that has arrived in the sacred city. At this moment in time, the cheers caused the entire Golden Sun sacred city to boil. Within the sacred city, several figures stood on top of a tall metal tower, gazing at Zhao Feng's group of 6. Zhe, Jinyang Xingtian, this Zhao Feng seems to be even more popular than you, a sacred son. Back in the Three Saints Palace, you said you were the best amongst the younger generation in the Azure Flower Continent. A thick-eyebrowed youth said in a mocking tone. The figures all looked toward a golden-haired youth. The golden-haired youth had a cold expression, and there was a hint of arrogance and disdain in his eyes. There was a closed, third eye on his forehead. This golden-haired youth was the three-eyed saint. Humph. You're from another continent, so don't interfere in this tea party. Just watch the show. The three-eyed saint warned the thick-eyebrowed youth. Brother Jinyang, you haven't shown your face in more than a dozen years. It's understandable that these people have forgotten your name. A cold voice came from an icy beauty. Her skin seemed to be carved out of ice. She radiated a cold aura that seemed to freeze the air nearby. However, there was a hint of gentleness in her gaze when she looked at the three-eyed saint like a little girl worshipping a little girl. It was rare for an ice beauty like Goddess Bing Wei to have such an expression. Sister Bing Wei, you're thinking too much. The three-eyed saint took back his gaze and smiled. This Zhao Feng isn't my true match. His strength mainly came from his eye bloodline, which meant that his fate was already decided. The only true match for me in the Azure Flower Continent is Yu Tianhao. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes flashed with doubt after hearing this. This was because in this sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng and Yu Tianhao's performances weren't much different. The three-eyed saint considered Yu Tianhao as his opponent, but he didn't put Zhao Feng in his eyes. Goddess Bing Wei had personally experienced Zhao Feng's terrifying ability to create miracles and win against the strong. She was worried that the three-eyed saint would underestimate Zhao Feng and be at a disadvantage. Among all the families on the continent, only the Yu family's unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline is special and has been passed down for the longest time. It is comparable to the Golden Sun family's sacred eye bloodline. The three-eyed saint's gaze was filled with yearning. It was as if he was looking back to the glory of his family. Unparalleled heaven battle bloodline. Even the thick-browed young man showed a trace of interest. Why have I never heard of this bloodline? Goddess Bing Wei didn't understand. That's because the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline is different from ordinary bloodline inheritances. In fact, it even exceeds the limits of bloodline inheritances. More accurately speaking, it's a continuation of intent. This bloodline is the king of battle. Once it appears, no one in the same generation will be able to match it. However, the chances of this bloodline appearing is very, very low. At most, a normal heaven-battling bloodline will appear. The three-eyed saint sighed. The people present could not help but come to a sudden realization when they heard this. In terms of bloodline inheritances, only the Yu family could surpass the Golden Sun family. Does Yu Tianhao have this bloodline? At least he has signs of it. But no matter what, he's an opponent that I must defeat. Let me complete what the Golden Sun family hasn't been able to do for several generations. Battle intent burned in the three-eyed saint's eyes. Hearing this, Goddess Bing Wei couldn't help but think. She had heard a little about the feud between the Jinyang family and the Yu family. The Golden Sun family and the Yu family were the two strongest families on the continent, and they hadn't fought for just a few hundred years. However, the Yu family had the upper hand most of the time, especially in the last few hundred years. For example, the generation of the three-eyed saint's father wasn't a match for sovereign Yu Xingqian and was even crushed beneath his feet. After all, the purity of the sacred eye bloodline in the three-eyed saint's father's generation was very low, and there weren't any sovereigns. However, the three-eyed saint was different. His sacred eye bloodline was the purest after the three-eyed heavenly lord of the Golden Sun family. This was also why the three-eyed saint considered him an opponent. Even in his eyes, Yu Tianhao wasn't a challenge at all. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. At this moment, the cheers within the metal castle started to die down. The Golden Sun family had already sent people to receive Zhao Feng and company. There were dozens of true dragon geniuses participating in the tea party, as well as many geniuses from the Middle Continent. All the true dragon geniuses were arranged to stay in the guest rooms of the Golden Sun family. Zhao Feng, you're finally here. Some of the true dragon geniuses and overwhelming prodigies greeted Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's gaze scanned over and saw that of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Shi Qingtian and Tantan Lanyue had already arrived. Goddess Bing Wei wasn't present. Zhao Feng had seen her with his god's spiritual eye when he entered the city. Apart from that, the geniuses of the first tier below the overwhelming prodigies such as Mo Tianyi, Zhang Yuyue, Xia Xianshang, Taba Feng, and company were also present. At the moment of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, only Yu Tianhao wasn't here. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye scanned over the crowd and was slightly regretful that he didn't find Xian Wuheng. Apparently, Xian Wuheng didn't return after entering the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. This meant that Zhao Feng wasn't very interested in this tea party. Of all the true dragon geniuses, the 2 opponents he was most interested in were Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng. It was one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies Shi Qingtian, who was very friendly to Zhao Feng and spoke with gratitude. Back in the second stage of the sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng had fought with Shi Qingtian and saved the latter's life, so they had to fight. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, almost 10 days had passed. The time of the tea party had arrived. However, the weird thing was that the tea party didn't start as scheduled. Zhao Feng was in seclusion and didn't notice this. However, some of the top geniuses of the continent had different opinions. Golden Sun family, guest room area. Goddess Bing Wei. When will the tea party start? A commotion came from the crowd. Goddess Bing Wei, the host, had entered the guest room area. Considering that Yu Tianhao and the other true dragon geniuses haven't arrived yet, the tea party will be delayed for a few days. Goddess Bing Wei had an apologetic expression. After all, there were several overwhelming prodigies that were on the same level as her and she couldn't neglect them. Oh well, we'll wait a few days. Since Yu Tianhao didn't come, the tea party will have one less strong opponent and will lose a lot of fun. Shi Qingtian's voice was low. He and Tantan Lanyue looked at each other and didn't object. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Yu Tianhao had always been the leader and the other overwhelming prodigies had been determined to challenge him for more than a day or 2. Furthermore, after returning from the inheritance for over a year, the true dragon geniuses present had improved and their confidence had increased. Like this, another 3 or 4 days passed in order to wait for Yu Tianhao. Yu Tianhao still hadn't come. Yu Tianhao came to the tea party last time. Why didn't he come this time? That's weird, Yu Tianhao hasn't appeared in the continent in the past half a year. The participating true dragon geniuses discussed in private. The tea party dragged on until the 10th day and some true dragon geniuses started to lose their patience. A few true dragon geniuses had important things to do and were about to leave. Deputy Patriarch, the tea party has been dragging on. Should we wait? Jiang Sanfeng asked. Zhao Feng spoke, the tea party is just a small gathering. We'll wait for 3 more days. If it doesn't happen, we'll return to the Canopy Great Country. Being the only overwhelming prodigy comparable to Yu Tianhao, Zhao Feng's words had a lot of weight. His words soon gained the support of the other true dragon geniuses. That's right. If the tea party doesn't happen in 3 days, we'll leave. Shi Qingtian was the first to agree, followed by Tan Tan Lanyue, Mo Tianyi, and company. Under this situation, the hosts of the tea party, the three-eyed saint and goddess Bing Wei, couldn't sit still anymore. The three-eyed saint, who was hiding behind the scenes, personally came to the guest area and calmed the true dragon geniuses down. Everyone, give me some face and wait 10 more days. The three-eyed saint stood with his hands behind his back and his golden hair sparkled in the sunlight. The eyelids of the closed third eye on his forehead twitched, emitting a mysterious aura that was ancient and powerful. Some of the geniuses with bloodlines felt their bloodlines trembling. After all, the three-eyed saint was the king of the sacred true dragon gathering 2 years ago and his seniority was higher than the other true dragon geniuses present. Everyone was in awe of his strength and reputation, so their hearts calmed down. Fine, the last 10 days. Shi Qingtian, Tan Tan Lanyue, and company didn't want to go against the three-eyed saint, so they reluctantly agreed. Zhao Feng stood in the crowd, his expression the same as ever, and he didn't say anything. That's good. A smile appeared on the three-eyed saint's face as he scanned across the crowd with disdain. He didn't put these true dragon geniuses or overwhelming prodigies in his eyes. After all, his seniority was high and he had cultivated in the Three Saints' Palace for more than a decade. His vision had long surpassed the limits of the continent. However, when the three-eyed saint's gaze landed on a blue-haired youth, his eyebrows furrowed. Of the true dragon geniuses, the 5 overwhelming prodigies were the leaders. Shi Qingtian and Tan Tan Lanyue both agreed to what he said just then. Only Zhao Feng didn't react. Zhao Feng, you don't have any objections, right? The three-eyed saint squinted his eyes. His cultivation had reached the late-stage true lord rank and his sacred eye bloodline had awakened to the 3rd stage. Almost no one under the origin core realm was his match. Just a wisp of the three-eyed saint's aura was enough to make the true dragon geniuses and overwhelming prodigies feel uneasy. Of course I have no objections since you two are hosting the tea party. Zhao Feng said emotionlessly. That's good. Although the three-eyed saint didn't like Zhao Feng's attitude, he let out a breath since the latter didn't object. However, I've already decided to return to the northern continent in 3 days. Furthermore, if the tea party doesn't start before I leave, I want to experience the power of the strongest eye bloodline in the continent. I believe you won't reject me, right? Chapter 510. Before I leave, if the tea party doesn't start, I want to experience the power of the continent's strongest eye bloodline. I'm sure the three-eyed saint won't reject that, right? His words suddenly changed. Zhao Feng's expression remained calm as he looked at the host of the tea party, the three-eyed saint. Hearing this, the hearts of the true dragon geniuses jumped. Everyone was bewildered as they looked at the blue-haired youth in the crowd. No one would have thought that Zhao Feng would go against the three-eyed saint and even ask to spar with him. Instantly, the originally peaceful atmosphere on the field was now filled with a sense of urgency. This Zhao Feng doesn't give the three-eyed saint any face at all. What boldness! He's directly challenging the champion of the sacred true dragon gathering. The three-eyed saint is over 50 years old. When he participated in the first sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng wasn't even born yet. The crowd was astounded, but their faces were filled with anticipation and excitement. Although most of them didn't think Zhao Feng would win, they had to admit that only Zhao Feng could fight against the three-eyed saint. Zhao Feng. Looks like you won't give me face. The three-eyed saint's expression became grim. The closed, third eye, on his forehead suddenly narrowed to a slit. A layer of mysterious gold flashed and gave off a domineering bloodline presence. The true dragon geniuses present felt their hearts jump and their bodies tremble. The three-eyed saint's sacred eye bloodline had only been slightly opened, but the terrifying aura it released already made those with bloodlines tremble uneasily and show signs of submission. This is the power of the continent's strongest eye bloodline. Even the overwhelming prodigies felt a lot of pressure and found it hard to breathe. Shi Qingtian and Tantan Lanyue were shocked, whereas Goddess Bing Wei's face was filled with joy and joy. This three-eyed saint's sacred eye bloodline has already awakened to the third stage. Tuoba Chi and the ghost-eyed man, the other two successors of the three bloodline families, circulated their eye bloodlines to resist the suppression of the eye bloodline. However, in front of the strongest eye bloodline in the continent, both Tuoba Chi and the ghost-eyed man felt helpless. The aura from the three-eyed saint's third eye wasn't targeted at anyone, but everyone. Faintly. He had the power to suppress all the true dragon geniuses present. However, there was one person on the field who remained unmoved. Give you face? If you defeat me, you will be qualified. Zhao Feng's expression gradually turned cold. Under the pressure of the three-eyed saint's domineering eye bloodline, his left eye suddenly turned a bone-piercing blue. Within the dimension of his left eye, the lake of eye bloodline power had already extended to 180 yards. The surge of eye bloodline power between ice and water represented Zhao Feng's soul strength that was comparable to the origin core realm. Peng, the auras of the two eye powers clashed against each other. In that instant, a ball of golden aura and a ball of blue aura clashed. Wisps of golden heat waves and icy blue currents intertwined and contended with each other. The true dragon geniuses present felt a pressure that came from both their body and soul. What powerful eye bloodline power! The hearts of Tuoba Chi and the ghost-eyed man shook. Their eye bloodline power seemed to be suppressed by two mountains when Zhao Feng and the three-eyed saint clashed, and they couldn't raise their heads. Invisibly. The ball of golden aura represented the three-eyed saint's eye bloodline power, while the blue aura came from Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye. This continued for several breaths. This brat's eye bloodline power doesn't seem to be weaker than mine. The third eye on the three-eyed saint's forehead opened even wider. It was like a golden crack that could destroy anything at any time. Although his eye bloodline power was still rising, it couldn't suppress Zhao Feng. At this moment in time, all the peak existences in Golden Sun Sacred City were shocked. The aura from the clash between the three-eyed saint and Zhao Feng was terrifying. Those that had eye bloodlines felt it even more strongly. On the city walls of Golden Sun Sacred City, such a powerful eye bloodline has appeared outside of the three major bloodline families. A middle-aged golden-robed man stood with his hands behind his back as he looked into the distance. Shock flashed through his eyes. The golden-robed man's appearance was similar to the three-eyed saint, and he also had a third eye on his forehead. He was the current head of the Golden Sun family and the three-eyed saint's father. This Zhao Feng is much younger than Qingtian, but the potential of his eye bloodline is immeasurable. Furthermore, his left eye bloodline is very abrupt. It doesn't seem to be innate, but acquired. A sigh sounded next to the head of the Golden Sun family. An elder wearing a straw hat had appeared next to the head of the Golden Sun family. First elder. The head of the Golden Sun family couldn't help but bow respectfully. He then asked curiously, "It's not innate, but acquired, could it be a mutation or the eye-stealing technique? If it's a mutation, then it's impossible for a normal person without an eye bloodline to catch up to the strongest eye bloodline in the continent in such a short amount of time." The grass hat elder shook his head. Hearing this, the head of the Golden Sun family couldn't help but agree. No matter how a normal person's eye mutated, it wouldn't be able to become so terrifying in such a short amount of time. On the other hand, if a person already had an eye bloodline and then mutated, it would be much more difficult. However, the problem was, only Zhao Feng's left eye was an eye bloodline, while his right eye was normal. It was more likely to be an eye bloodline that was acquired. Could it be the eye-stealing technique? The expression of the head of the Golden Sun family changed slightly. The eye-stealing technique is a forbidden technique that harms the heavens. It doesn't make sense for a normal person to take such a powerful eye bloodline. The Grass Hat Elder denied it once again. At the same time, in the guest room of the Golden Sun family, Zhao Feng and the Three-Eyed Saint's eye bloodline faced off, and they were evenly matched. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline can already fight against the Three-Eyed Saint. The scene in front of them made the hearts of the true dragon geniuses shake. After all, the Three-Eyed Saint was 2 generations older than Zhao Feng. In terms of age, they weren't even in the same generation. They were at least 1 generation apart. Zhao Feng. No wonder you're so confident. However, the strength of an eye bloodline is only the foundation of an eye bloodline technique. The third eye, on the Three-Eyed Saint's forehead became bigger and bigger. It was as if an invisible golden beam of light was about to pierce through heaven and earth, putting pressure on both the soul and the body. This Three-Eyed Saint's eye bloodline seems to be able to suppress both the soul and the physical world. Zhao Feng's heart clenched, and his body felt heavy. His god's spiritual eye leaned towards the mental energy dimension. On the other hand, the Three-Eyed Saint's sacred eye bloodline seemed to ignore the difference between the physical and mental energy dimensions. The two of you, stop. A cold voice sounded and an invisible coldness spread across the area. See. The true dragon geniuses present all hiccuped and felt as if their blood had frozen. Goddess Bing Wei appeared between Zhao Feng and the Three-Eyed Saint. A crystal blue aura of ice formed an S shape and wrapped around both Zhao Feng and the Three-Eyed Saint. Even the Three-Eyed Saint and Zhao Feng seemed to freeze, and their eye bloodline powers stopped clashing. This goddess Bing Wei has already reached the true lord rank and her power of ice has reached a whole new level. Zhao Feng circulated a wisp of his bloodline power to dissolve the coldness that had entered his body. Under this situation, he had to stop fighting against the Three-Eyed Saint. Although it seemed like Goddess Bing Wei had stopped the two, the coldness she was using was targeted at Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng continued to fight, he would most likely be pincered by the Three-Eyed Saint and Goddess Bing Wei. Sister Bing Wei, why are you doing this? The Three-Eyed Saint's eyebrows furrowed as he looked at Goddess Bing Wei. Although Zhao Feng's eye bloodline wasn't any weaker than his, the Three-Eyed Saint was confident that he could defeat Zhao Feng in one move. This wasn't just because of his sacred eye bloodline. Another reason was that he came from the Golden Sun family, which had the strongest eye bloodline in the continent. How could someone who didn't train properly be compared to him? Brother Golden Sun, we're the host. If we start fighting before the true dragon tea party starts, it'll be a disgrace to all of us. Goddess Bing Wei apologetically explained to the Three-Eyed Saint and the others. As soon as he said this, everyone present agreed. There was also a small number of people who were dissatisfied with the Three-Eyed Saint's actions. Participating in the sacred true dragon gathering was one's freedom. Zhao Feng could leave whenever he wanted. The Three-Eyed Saint's provocation just then was indeed a bit like bullying. If it wasn't Zhao Feng, they would probably be humiliated by the Three-Eyed Saint and lose all face. Sister Bing Wei is right. As the host, I won't do anything before the tea party starts. I don't want others to think that I'm bullying the weak. The Three-Eyed Saint smiled proudly. Zhao Feng stood still and couldn't help but look at Goddess Bing Wei thoughtfully. Goddess Bing Wei had considered everything. If the Three-Eyed Saint won at this time, he wouldn't have the face to continue holding the tea party. If he lost, he would be utterly defeated. How would he have the face to continue holding the true dragon tea party? More importantly, the Three-Eyed Saint wasn't able to gain the upper hand against Zhao Feng's eye bloodline power. Otherwise, Goddess Bing Wei would have loved for the Three-Eyed Saint to humiliate Zhao Feng. Just as Zhao Feng said, the tea party will be held in 3 days. Goddess Bing Wei smiled. Hearing this, everyone was surprised. The original plan was to delay the tea party for another 10 days. However, because of Zhao Feng's words, it had been changed to 3 days. This was giving Zhao Feng too much face. It could be said that Goddess Bing Wei had taken a step back. On the city tower far away. This child Bing Wei really put in a lot of effort to delay the battle for 3 days. This will give Sheng more time to prepare, and before the two fight, there will be many opportunities to test Zhao Feng's strength and increase Sheng's chances of winning. The head of the Golden Sun family had a gratified expression. After all, the battle between Zhao Feng and the Three-Eyed Saint was related to the number 1 eye bloodline in the continent. Chapter 5:11. Goddess Bing Wei's compromise eased the anger of the true dragon geniuses. The new suggestion was soon accepted. Zhao Feng, what do you think? Goddess Bing Wei seemed to have forgotten their past grievances and asked. Fine. Zhao Feng knew that Goddess Bing Wei was stalling for time, but he couldn't reject her. After the crowd dispersed, the Three-Eyed Saint and Goddess Bing Wei walked side by side. Sister Wei, I'm sorry. The Three-Eyed Saint was slightly moved. Although he felt that Goddess Bing Wei's actions were unnecessary, he still felt grateful. Although the Three-Eyed Saint knew that his chances of winning were high and he didn't put Zhao Feng in his eyes, how could he not be grateful for what his beloved had done for him? Brother Sheng, you need to prepare for this battle and take revenge for me. Thinking about how Zhao Feng had suppressed and humiliated her during the sacred True Dragon gathering, the hatred in Goddess Bing Wei's heart couldn't be suppressed. She needed to carefully plan this opportunity to humiliate Zhao Feng. She could not afford to be careless. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Under Goddess Bing Wei's supervision, the Three-Eyed Saint humbly asked the head of the Golden Sun family and First Elder for advice. After all, when Zhao Feng faced off against the Three-Eyed Saint, his eye bloodline's aura had been revealed. Evening. Near the Golden Sun Holy City, on a plain surrounded by mountains and rivers, the vacuum tea party started on time. What disappointed Zhao Feng was that Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao didn't appear. Xian Wuheng might have already died in the Heaven's Legacy inheritance and Yu Tianhao hasn't appeared in the past half a year. Zhao Feng didn't have much hope. This tea party was similar to the Genius Summit of Sunfeather City. The difference was that the people attending were all geniuses that stood at the peak of the continent. The true dragon geniuses were split up into groups of 3 to 5. Zhao Feng obviously represented the Canopy Great Country and the Northern Continent. Beside him were the geniuses of the Northern Continent. Apart from the geniuses of the True Dragon Country, there were also Mo Tianyi, Zhang Yuyue, Princess Linyue, and other peak geniuses of the Northern Continent. Shi Qingtian and Tantai Lanyue sat on the other side. At the beginning of the tea party, the main topic was tea tasting. All the geniuses gathered together to discuss the cultivation techniques and secret techniques of the continent. They even talked about some of the inherited battle techniques of the outer realms. Zhao Feng listened with interest. Among them, the Three-Eyed Saint was naturally the main character. He had been staying in the outer world for the past dozen years and had seen many things. The Three-Eyed Saint would be able to answer any question the peak geniuses asked. His answers were usually direct. Zhao Feng couldn't help but admire the Three-Eyed Saint. Whether it was strength, knowledge, or experience, the Three-Eyed Saint surpassed the juniors in this sacred True Dragon gathering. To a certain degree, the Three-Eyed Saint was no longer part of the younger generation. He was part of the older generation. As the discussion reached a climax, some practice and sparring began. The people who went up were all true dragon geniuses, and they were all elites who had survived the inheritances of the outer realms. However, dragon geniuses Tian true geniuses' challenges were all Qin. Xiao. All dragon. However, several true dragon geniuses' challenges ended in failure. However, the next challenger wasn't weak. Tantai Lanyue, let me see how much you've improved. Mo Tianyi's steps were steady as he walked onto the ground. After returning from the inheritance, Mo Tianyi had obtained great fortune and had reached the peak true mystic rank after some hard work. In terms of cultivation and inheritance battle skills, he was stronger than the overwhelming prodigies from a year ago. On the other hand, Tantai Lanyue hadn't reached the True Lord rank and was only at the half-step True Lord rank. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Tantai Lanyue's cultivation was always half a beat behind. However, as a beast tamer, her main battle power was her spiritual pets. Hee. Come, I'm not afraid of any challenge. Tantai Lanyue was wearing a bright colorful dress. Her skirt reached her knees, revealing her snow-white legs. She was delicate and moving, and her smile was like a dream. Boom! Tantai Lanyue waved her hand and summoned the horned earth dragon beast. After going through the inheritance, the horned earth dragon beast had reached the true lord rank and its body, power and defense surpassed others of the same rank. Mo Tianyi laughed faintly and didn't fear her at all. He punched out and mountains flashed as he closed in on Tantai Lanyue. In terms of battle power, Mo Tianyi wasn't far from the true lord rank, and as a beast tamer, Tantai Lanyue didn't specialize in close combat. However, the current horned earth dragon beast's battle power wasn't the same as before. Its roars shook heaven and earth, and its every move shook the earth. Even normal true lord ranks didn't want to fight the horned earth dragon beast head-on. However, since Mo Tianyi dared to challenge Tantai Lanyue, he obviously had something to rely on. Shua. Mo Tianyi's movement technique landed on the horned earth dragon beast's body and left behind a blurry yellow figure. After coming back from the inheritance, Mo Tianyi's overall strength has increased. Offense, defense, speed. There's no obvious weakness. Zhao Feng nodded his head in his heart. Mo Tianyi landed on the horned earth dragon's back, using his agility and speed to his advantage. Every punch and palm was like a mountain, locking down Tantai Lanyue. As a beast tamer, although Tantai Lanyue had the advantage in cultivation, she didn't specialize in close combat and started to retreat. Everyone couldn't help but think, was the position of the 5 overwhelming prodigies going to be shaken? After the sacred true dragon gathering ended, the 5 overwhelming prodigies had all returned from the inheritance and their cultivations had increased greatly. Yu Tianhao, Zhao Feng, Shi Qingtian and Shi Qingtian had all broken through to the true lord rank. Yu Tianhao was the first to break through and was at the early stages of the true lord rank. On the other hand, Tantai Lanyue was slightly weaker and hadn't reached the true lord rank yet. Origin Magnetic Mountain Technique. The illusionary yellow mountain range in Mo Tianyi's palm suddenly released beams of translucent silver ripples that looked like the blossoming of an electric flower, creating a strange force field. Tantai Lanyue wanted to dodge but felt her body being restricted by an invisible force. At this critical moment, Tantai Lanyue smiled, ice glass snake. Shua. She waved her hand and a small crystal snake flew out from her wrist. It spat out a sharp icy aura and a terrifying cold aura that instantly dispersed Mo Tianyi's inherited battle skill. Mo Tianyi just wanted to move when he felt something wrap around his hand and a layer of ice instantly spread across his body. The ice crystal snake was extremely agile and no one saw how it wrapped around Mo Tianyi's arm. A breath or two later. Plop. Mo Tianyi's ice-like body was kicked onto the ground by the horned earth dragon beast. Hee, you think I'll only have one true lord rank spiritual pet after coming back from the inheritance? Tantai Lanyue waved her hand and the ice snake disappeared back into her wrist. The true dragon geniuses present were stunned. Simply put, Tantai Lanyue had the battle power of 2 true lord ranks. The horned earth dragon beast was as large as a small mountain and was a strength-based meat shield. Normal true lord ranks wouldn't be able to fight it head-on. However, the horned earth dragon beast's weakness was obvious, it was clumsy and easily countered by humans. But now, Tantai Lanyue had obtained another mysterious ice glass snake that could spit out a terrifying cold aura. It was extremely agile and specialized in close combat and ambushes. With one big and one small true Lord rank spiritual pet, Tantai Lanyue has no weaknesses. Zhao Feng knew that Tantai Lanyue's spiritual pets could definitely form an army. Of course, this was nothing compared to Zhao Feng's 100 ghost corpse plan. Zhao Feng had a total of 5 true Lord rank ghost corpses, 2 poison corpses and 2 or 3 that he had refined in the past half a year. Less than half a day later, the true dragon geniuses all challenged Shi Qingtian, Goddess Bingwei and Tantai Lanyue. The result was that their challenges all ended in failure. Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei's strength was only stronger than Tantai Lanyue's. Bam! Shi Qingtian's bloodline and body had increased and he sent Wang Xiaoguai flying with one punch. Sky Ape Divine Luo. Wang Xiaoguai roared unwillingly and furiously attacked Shi Qingtian. Shi Qingtian laughed and his body was like a stone giant as he took Wang Xiaoguai's attacks head-on. After a series of attacks, Wang Xiaoguai's head was bleeding while Shi Qingtian was completely unharmed. He basically didn't even retaliate. Those below the peak True Lord rank will find it hard to break through Shi Qingtian's defense. Zhao Feng confirmed that Shi Qingtian's defense and power were the strongest present. One had to know that Wang Xiaoguai was the strongest genius in the Canopy Great Country apart from Zhao Feng. Goddess Bingwei's actions also shocked the geniuses present. She had easily defeated 2 or 3 peak geniuses of the same level as Mo Tianyi and was even stronger than Shi Qingtian and Tantai Lanyue. Far away in the mountains, the head of the Golden Sun family and the Grass Hat Elder stood on the peak and watched the battle below. At the same age, Sheng is slightly weaker than Zhao Feng and Yu Tianhao but at most the same level as normal overwhelming prodigies. The Grass Hat Elder's expression was solemn. But not every peerless genius can grow up like Sheng the head of the Golden Sun family's smile was cold. The tea party of the True Dragon lasted for half a day. None of the overwhelming prodigies were defeated. Tantai Lanyue, Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei all displayed battle power that surpassed normal true dragon geniuses. However, until one person made a move and broke this legend. It was Zhang Yuyue. After coming out of the 7-sword inheritance, Zhang Yuyue's cultivation had reached the half-step true lord rank. Her first opponent was Tantai Lanyue. In this battle, the cold and domineering sword intent seemed to have permeated the surrounding void. The spectators felt as if their souls were being penetrated and pierced. The battle lasted for 50 rounds. The horned earth dragon beast was injured and had fainted from the sword intent. 7-sword inheritance. Your sword intent has reached a level that can suppress those at the true lord rank. Tantai Lanyue's face was pale white and there were several bloody gashes on her body. If this continued, her spiritual pets would be in danger and she could only admit defeat. Zhang Yuyue won. After that, she challenged Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian, the 2 prodigies. After a series of dangerous battles, the victor was not decided within 100 moves. In reality, if it wasn't for the fact that Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei's defense was strong, they might have lost to Zhang Yuyue. Without a doubt, Zhang Yuyue had become the new overwhelming prodigy and replaced Tantai Lanyue. The true dragon geniuses and spectators from all over the continent were excited as they witnessed this miracle. However, the other 3 overwhelming prodigies had all been challenged. Only Zhao Feng hadn't been challenged. No one had challenged Zhao Feng yet. More accurately speaking, no one dared to challenge him. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.